Pareil. Il est 7 heures, on va appeler la réunion à l'ordre. Avant d'adopter l'ordre du jour, avons un arrêt, c'est que vous êtes tous d'accord. J'aimerais additionner 12.2, contrat fort au Cap Sainte-Marie. Si vous êtes tous d'accord avec ça. L'autre item, c'est qu'il y a des problèmes techniques à la télé. Le Savorac est en anglais. So, il ne va pas y avoir de réunion traduite ou la réunion en français. C'est ça? Oui, ça alors le système nouveau la semaine suivante. So, en disant ça, ça prendra une motion pour adopter l'ordre du jour. Move by Danny. Appuyé par Carl, tout ça en faveur, indiquant en disant oui. Quand motion adoptée. Y a-t-il des items sur l'agenda qui pourraient vous mettre en conflit d'intérêt? Sinon, alors la 3, présentation, 3.1, présentation des états financiers 2016-2017 pour le commun.
Je crois pas être populaire demain. C'est une grosse crowd.
Tous les meetings du Conseil sont là.
C'est de même que ça.
C'est slack.
Yeah. Première fois, il est venu ici, tu avais besoin de parker sur le lawn. That's right. Ça fait que vous avez les états financiers en avant de vous autres. Avons été à travers les états financiers avec le comité de vérification. I guess I should speak English for Dan, so I'll do that.
Yep.
Oh, c'est traduit?
Ouais.
OK. Ça fait qu'en regardant les états financiers, je vais être à travers des fois les états financiers avec le comité de vérification. Ça fait que je vais aller en travers vraiment high level ici, et puis faire une sommaire de les résultats pour la municipalité pour l'année finie le 31 mars 2017. Sur la page 1, nous avons notre Auditor's Report. Ça fait que notre rapport, en fait, dit que c'est la gestion qui est responsable pour les états financiers. Nous, on est responsable pour faire une vérification des états financiers qui est en accord avec Canadian General Accepted Auditing Standards. Ça fait qu'on fait notre travail et puis je n'ai rien trouvé qui nous causerait à mettre une qualification, aucune qualification sur les états financiers. La page 3, c'est tous les ans la gestion a besoin de signer, que Zoï sont responsables pour les états financiers. Et puis c'est ça que je trouve sur la page 3. Ça, c'est une affaire que je vois tous les ans. Sur la page 4, je montre Consolidated Statement of Operations. Ça montre que pour l'année finie 31 mars 2017, la municipalité avait budgété pour avoir des revenus de 6 931 000. Actuel, c'était 7 232 000. Dépenses, 6 896 000. L'actuel, c'était 6 607 000. Ça montre que nous avons fait un surplus dans 2017 de 625 000 pièces. Il y a plus un breakdown de ça, c'est que nous voulons virer à la page 24. Ça fait que sur la page 24, nous pouvons voir que quand je regarde les taxes étaient comme prévu, pas mal en ordre avec ça qui était expecté. Résidentiel, c'était 4 659 000, le budget 4 658 000. Commercial, c'était comme prévu. Je pense que les taxes n'ont point changé. Il y avait une petite augmentation dans les taxes en travers de l'année 2017 comparé à 2016. Les autres rubriques que nous voyons là, c'est pas mal comme qui était prévu. Ça fait qu'en total, après lutter le School Board Appropriation là-dessus, 5 100 000 pièces, c'était les taxes, le revenu de taxes que j'avions pour cette année-là. Grants in lieu of taxes, c'était pas mal comme ça qui était prévu. Ils mettent moins un budget de 153 000, notre actuel 130 000. Regardons la page 25. Services provided to other governments. Nos tipping fees que nous avons ramassés et qui ont à peu près 34 000 pièces plus que l'année passée. Il y avait une augmentation dans le taux que nous avons fait charger pour nos tipping fees. Nous allons voir que nos tipping fees que nous avons payés à Queens étaient aussi une miette plus, et puis c'est pas mal break-even. Ça avons ramassé, puis ça avons payé. Other revenue from own sources, 634 000 était actuel, avions prévu 762 000. La plus grosse affaire que voyons là, j'avions prévu d'avoir 70 000 pièces d'une grant pour le Cap Saint, le Lighthouse au Cap. Ça fait que ce travail-là n'avait pas été fait encore, ça fait que l'argent va pas rentrer dans les revenus. Ça, c'est la plus grosse raison pourquoi ce que je suis plus haut dans notre... ça, c'est une des raisons que notre budget, voyons qu'on va payer ce 70 000 pièces-là. Les autres rubriques sont pas mal comme ça qui étaient prévues. Grants from other governments de la province, nos grants étaient pas mal ça qui était prévu, 328 comparé à 324. Conditional transfers, federal and provincial governments, j'avais eu 285 000 pièces. Ça, c'était des grants que j'avais eu pour des sewer extensions, des upgrades. Il y avait Matagan, il y avait Church Point, puis il y avait Thibodeau Road. Ça fait qu'en total, nos revenus sont 5 232 comparé à un budget de 6 931. Ça fait que nous avons ramassé à peu près un extra 300 000 pièces en revenus. La majorité de ça, c'était des grants pour notre sewer. Sur la page 26, dans nos dépenses, General Government Services, nous avons dépensé 1 316 000 comparé à 1 396. Regardons dans les rubriques, nous n'avons pas dépensé aussi tant que ça qui était anticipé dans l'administrative, mais notre administrative expense va monter de 11%. Ça fait que ça fait de la suite. Protective Services, nous avons dépensé 29 000 pièces de moins que ça qui était prévu RCMP. Nous avons donné 297 000 pièces comme prévu pour les opérations de nos départements de feuilles. Emergency Services. Ça fait que là, en total, dans Protective Services, 1 719 comparé à 1 787 de prévu. Ça fait qu'on a dépensé 60 000 pièces de moins là, que ça avions prévu. La page 27, Transportation Services. Sidewalk Maintenance ne vous a pas coûté aussi tant que ça que j'expectais, puis je n'avais pas eu besoin de dépenser de l'argent sur des signes l'année passée. Ça fait que je suis à 26 000 pièces de moins que ça qui était prévu. Environmental Health, pas mal en ordre avec ça qu'on expectait. 1 692 000 pièces, c'est ça qui était prévu. Nous avons dépensé à peu près 11 000 pièces de moins que ça. Nous avons vu que les opérations de nos sewers étaient au moins l'année passée, par à peu près 45 000 pièces. Puis nous pouvons voir que Queen's Tipping Fees ont monté à peu près le même, c'est à peu près le même montant que ça qui étaient les revenus que j'avais vu tantôt pour les tipping fees. Public Health and Welfare, c'est pas mal comme prévu. Environmental Development Services, nous pouvons voir 324 000 comparé à 334. Encore, ces chiffres-là, il n'y a pas de surprises là. Ils sont pas mal comparés à ça que j'expectais. Recreation and Cultural Services. Nous pouvons voir ici que nous avons dépensé moins que ça qui était prévu. Nous n'avons pas dépensé 77 000 pièces. Comme que nous avons vu, nous n'avons pas mis le revenu dans les revenus pour la Lighthouse au Cap, puis nous n'avons pas dépensé l'argent. Nous avons dépensé une miette plus d'argent sur le Clare Veteran Center que ça qui était expecté à 55 000. Mais autre que ça, les rubriques sont pas mal que ça qu'on a prévu. Transfers to other agencies, ça fait que nous avons le dernier 40 000 pièces que nous adresse que nous avions comme à recevoir pour de l'airport a été donné à l'airport. Ça fait que ça, c'est fini à cette heure. Ça fait que ça, c'est nos revenus et nos dépenses. Si que je garde donc sur la page 4, donc ça finit, avons fini avec un surplus de 625 000 pièces. Juste que ça nous laisse. Voilà, si que je garde donc sur la page 5, je crois que ça ici, c'est la page que je crois qu'on compare avec les autres municipalités. C'est la page lorsque on regarde dans quelle sorte de position qu'on est. Si que je regarde dans nos financial assets, nous avions de la cash de 4 196 000 pièces. Avec tous nos financial assets, avec tous les différentes sortes de recevables, nous pouvons voir que ça que je suis dit de les Fire Department a baissé de 589 000 à 473. Ça fait que ce chiffre-là a baissé. Nous avons collecté 206 000 pièces. Nous avons dépensé about 90 000. Ça fait que le restant de l'argent que nous avons collecté a été pour baisser ce recevable-là. Si que je regarde dans nos financial liabilities, 3 880 000 pièces comparé à 4 176. Il n'y a pas des gros changements payables and accruals. L'année passée, avions beaucoup de payables pour le sewer. Voyons que notre dette a baissé de à peu près 170 000 pièces. La dette qu'on a, long-term debt, c'est seulement 2 140 000. Ça fait que ça, c'est pas un gros montant pour une organisation de 16 que je suis. Ça fait que si je garde dans le chiffre que vraiment tout le monde garde, de manière comme le bellwether, si tu veux, quoi c'est que la position que la municipalité est dedans, net financial assets, ça que je voyons, c'est que nous avons monté de 1 578 000 pièces à 1 865 000 pièces. Ça fait que ce chiffre-là, c'est une bonne petite augmentation. Ça montre que je suis vraiment pas mal solide ici à la municipalité de Clare. La seule autre chose, si on regarde vite à la page 7, ça nous montre, quand je regarde dans la seule rubrique que je mentionnerai là, c'est Purchase of Tangible Capital Assets. Ça fait que si je regarde dans quoi ce que nous avons fait l'année passée dans la municipalité d'un point de vue de capital, nous avons dépensé 800 000 pièces sur du capital. La Community Fire Hall nous a coûté 263 000 pièces. Nous avons mis un ventilation system au Metegan Health Center pour 178 000 pièces. Les sewer extension nous avons coûté à peu près 300 000 pièces. Et puis nous avons un sign pour la Legion pour 5 000 pièces. Ça serait mon rapport. Il y a beaucoup d'informations ici. Comme que je dis, nous avons déjà été en travail avec le comité de vérification. Ça fait que s'il n'y a pas de questions, ça c'est les points que je vois pour faire au conseil de soir. En avant tout ce monde ici.
Y a-t-il des questions? Je crois qu'on a tout le temps moins de questions quand ça va bien que quand ça va mal.
Right.
So. Alors, direct, je suis en bon ordre. Tu vois rien là qui te concerne dans le futur?
Non. Je crois que tu sais, on a toujours besoin de ce net financial asset shift là, c'est vraiment le shift qui dit quoi c'est que la financial condition de la municipalité. Je crois que la municipalité a des argents dans ses réserves, dans ses fonds, et puis c'est important d'avoir ça quand le gouvernement sort avec des infrastructure programmes et puis quand on a des gros projets à faire, on a besoin d'avoir sa partie pour mettre dans ces projets-là. C'est important d'avoir ça.
Marché, as-tu d'autres questions?
Une de ces dernières fois, ce qui vous a dit par Community Fire Hall.
Donc, nous avons acheté, ça, les bâtisses que nous avons achetées.
À Saint-Bernard.
À Saint-Bernard.
Ouais.
Yeah.
Qui va être la Fire Hall bien vite.
Yeah.
So, ouais, c'est qu'il n'y a pas d'autres questions. Oh, la motion à Laurent faire ça plus tard.
You start on Réunion with new business.
So.
OK?
C'est tout. Merci beaucoup.
Merci.
Merci.
Ensuite, alors la 3.D, modification proposée envers l'arrêt municipal numéro 27. Greg Zwicker. Ça, il en parle.
Ouais.
Okay, thank you, merci. I have to speak on anglais tonight, so hopefully that is okay. What I wanted to do was give a bit of a short presentation. I only have 10, 12 slides here to kind of show what we're trying to achieve with this watershed protection plan. I think there's been a lot of maybe confusion or some lack of communication, so we want to try to get everybody up to speed with what PAC has been doing for the last year and a half. Sometimes we get the question, really, why are we doing this at all? Why protect the lakes? These are not clear pictures, but these are the kind of things that can really degrade the water quality in our natural environment. Sort of those cut lawns, landscape right down to the water on the left. The top right is sort of the clear cutting, the stormwater, the runoff. Bottom left is garbage, and then the gentleman with the truck in the ditch, he has a little bit more trouble to deal with. But all these things have some impact on the lake. So what we started out with, looking at the entire municipality of Clare, which is the whole triangle that you see. The Belleville watershed is in that red oval. There's several lakes in there that all generally drain towards the bay. There's 4 other watersheds in there that we're not even talking about at this point. So PAC direction to me was, let's not bring something into place on all the lakes and all the watersheds and without sort of testing it, trying it. Let's get a bit of a pilot going. Let's look at Bellevaux and see what we can do. So within the Bellevaux watershed, the overall Bellevaux watershed, there's 5 lakes that are at the top of the system. If you look at a series of lakes, they start high on, say, on a mountain, they flow to the next one, the next one, the next one, the next one. We've only looked at the 5 at the top, which are on this page: Bartlett's, Bellevaux, Henriette, Lac d'Amba, and Lac Pierre. And the reason being, if we figured if we can do anything for the top of the system, it's only going to help down below. We do know one thing: if we totally destroy the 5 lakes at the top, whatever we do there goes downstream through the rest of the lakes, and that impact gets played right through. So if we can do something to help out the top, that's only going to help downstream as we go. So everything I'm talking to you about today is those 5 lakes and those 5 watersheds, nothing in the rest of Clare. Just wait. I'm going to finish my presentation, then we're going to take questions. So the proposal here is there's 5 maps, 3 A, B, C, D, and E, for those 5 lakes within this bylaw. We're proposing a 25-meter setback. There's currently a 20-meter setback in your bylaw today. We're talking about 5 meters on top of that. And these are the 5 lakes I'm going to quickly show you. So in Bellevaux Lake, everything in that purple flows towards Bellevaux Lake. It's sort of the bowl around the top of the hills, the top of the mountains, whatever you want to look at, that all funnels down towards Bellevaux Lake. And our W zone is proposed, applies to the entire watershed, all that purple. Most of the regulations or the restrictions we're writing here apply to the 500-meter line, which is the red. You'll note to the left of Bellevaux Lake, the watershed is really close to the lake, so there's places there within 100 meters of the lake that this does not apply to. To meet the test for these regulations, you need to be A, in the purple, and then B, within the red line. So we've gone now from all the way to Clare, down to Bellevaux watershed, down to those 5 lakes, down to that portion of the watershed around those 5 lakes. This is what Henriette looks like. Very small watershed. It's in pretty close to the lake. There's most of that purple is within 500, but you'll notice to the top where the road cuts off, that's beyond the 5. So the regulations would not apply. And then jump into Lac Pierre. This is an interesting one. Very small lake, but huge watershed going to the upper right corner. So those buffers, the setbacks, the no cutting, the 10% cutting, the things people have been worried about, doesn't apply to any of that upper right corner. The only thing that applies there is the restriction on uses, which we're going to get to here. I think it's the next slide. Oh, sorry, Lac d'Amba. So we looked at Lac d'Amba. We included the little man-made circle there to the left and Lac Innocent because they're directly connected. There's the 500-meter red line. Lac d'Amba, that black arrow is the flow out of the lake, which moves into Spectacle and then goes to the left and heads down. I think Bartlett's was our last one, I believe. Yes. So Bartlett's, you'll see a bit of an odd shape. It has those sort of rivers coming off the top and the bottom. We included those when we measured the 500-meter setback because they have such an impact straight on that lake. We took our 25-meter and our 500-meter around those streams to truly get the top of the system or the entire watershed around that upper lake. So those are the 5 lakes. Like to your question I got from somewhere over here, we were talking about those 5 tonight. If this moves forward eventually and gets adopted, those regulations that I want to run through would apply there. Yes, there's the ability to go to other lakes in the future. That can't happen without coming back to council, without public hearing, without amending the bylaw, without amending the planning strategy. So it can't be sort of slid in or snuck in at a later date. This is the zone that we're suggesting So section 5 of your land use bylaw today is zones and zoning map. All of Clare is one zone. I wish I could look this way. I feel bad looking here. There's one zone, the general development zone, the GD zone, which basically says you can do whatever you want wherever you want. It's pretty wide open. There's no residential zone, there's no commercial zone, there's no industrial park zone, there's no education or institutional zone. It's all GD. So when we first built this bylaw, probably 7, 8, 9 years ago, we set this up so we could bring more zones in the future. Because when we went to the early public meetings in 2009 and 2010 at the Sonyville Veterans Center, people told us about not wanting fish shacks, lobster plants behind their house, not wanting quarries in their side yard. They can't open their windows because of the dust and dirt. So we set up this bylaw that as we go forward, we can start to bring more zones in place. We can get a commercial, a downtown zone, a Main Street zone. As Clare grows, this bylaw was set up to add more. So our first attempt here is to bring in this W, or this watershed zone. Section 6 exists, that just says the GD zone. Now section 7 is new, watershed protection. The watershed W zone applies to only those lands indicated on maps A to E, those 5 lakes that I mentioned a couple times below. Now, what can we do in there? 7.2, permitted uses. So in that W zone, in that purple area, that's what we're talking about, all uses shall be permitted in the watershed protection zone, subject to requirements of this bylaw, except the following, what is there, 8 or 9 there? Auto salvage, commercial agricultural, commercial forestry, livestock operations, compost facility, C&D, dry cleaners, golf course, industrial, landfill, recycling, service stations. Obviously, the majority of this room here tonight is here because it says commercial forestry. Trying to figure out what the hell that means. What are we allowed to do? What aren't we allowed to do? I'm suggesting a recommendation here to Council and PAC tonight that we take commercial forestry out. The intent was not to inhibit or destroy the economy of Clare. The very first time I came to Clare in 2009, it was one of the first things said to me was, we need the economy, we need the people, we need a successful municipality. PAC is not in the intention of bringing in a bunch of rules to run people out of town. So let's keep going into this and see what the next piece looks like. I think I only have one more slide after this. So 7.3 down to 7.8 in this bylaw. If anyone needs one, I have some copies with me. 7.3 is an easy one. All new lots in this zone are required to meet Nova Scotia environment regulations for sewage disposal. If there is one thing we can do for the environment or for the lakes of Clare, we should go around and shut down all those illegal septic systems and clean them all up and put in proper systems. Clearly that's not something I have the power to do or this council has the power to do, but those septic systems that are leaking into the lake are probably the worst use or impact on the lake. What we're saying here is that's Department of Environment's regulations. They need to manage that. They need to police that. Everyone knows they're out there. Everyone knows they exist, but it's up to Nova Scotia Environment to manage that. This bylaw is not going to deal with it. 7.4, watercourse setback. No development shall be permitted within 25 meters of a watercourse. Your land use bylaw today says pretty much the exact same sentence except 20 meters. So we're going in this zone, in that purple, within the red line, we're saying another 5 meters from what's there today. 20 to 25 meters. 7.5 deals with accessory buildings or sheds, barn, garages. Pretty sure everyone in this building has a shed, a barn, a garage, and what do you put in it? All of the junk you don't want in your house. Your gas cans, your fertilizers, your old mowers, your yard chemicals, your pool stuff, all that stuff that you wouldn't want in your house, everyone puts in their shed. So what we're saying is, in these zones, around those lakes, you can do all that, but you can't put your shed any closer to the lake than your house. If the lake is here and your house is there, your shed can't go any closer than the lake than the house. That's all 7.5 means.
So that means boat houses too.
I'll keep going. It's a good question though. So 7.6, everything within 500 meters. So inside that red line, we're not saying don't work in there. We're not saying stay out of there. What PAC is asking you to do is to come forward to the development officer with an erosion sedimentation control plan. All that says is where you're going to put your hay bales, where you're going to put your silt fence, How are you going to manage this if there's a 40 mil rainstorm tonight? You're going to cut open 2 acres, 5 acres, 10 acres, and then come tomorrow and say, oh my God, I didn't know it was going to rain tonight? We're asking you for a erosion sedimentation control plan. It's not a big expense. Once you do 1, you do 2 or 3. They almost all have the same thing on them. Silt fences, berms, hay bales, to protect that runoff in case you've got a big piece of land open and you get a downpour of rain. That's all it does. So 7.7, this needs a bit of clarity. I would agree with some of the comments we received around alteration of land. A development permit is required for all alterations within the watershed protection zone. And the second one, removal of topsoil from that W zone is not permitted. We don't want anyone going in there and sort of opening up a quarry or a sand pit or a topsoil removal and just digging and pulling out, tracking it out the road and taking it somewhere else for exactly the last reason, erosion sedimentation control plan. Outdoor storage, 7.8, is similar to the earlier comment. In the rest of Clare, you can store things pretty much wherever you want to. In this area, within that red line, that's it. We're saying no outdoor storage of derelict vehicles, fertilizers, pesticides, or manure. That's it. Those 4 items, outside storage, in your yard, within that red 500 meters. Outside of that, the rest of the purple, go ahead. Store cars, fertilizers, pesticides, manure, whatever you want outside. We figure that's far enough away from the lake. You get beyond half a kilometer, go for it. Okay, the last 4 here, 7, 9. And I expect this is also another one that's going to probably get directed back to PAC for some communication. We stared at this 7.9 for a year. That's why it took us so long to get here. So no cutting or tree removal is to occur within the 25 meter. That's the ideal situation. If we're really trying to protect the environment, we would put up a solid buffer and say, stay out, don't cut in it, let it be, clean up some fallen debris, look after it, but no clear cutting in there, no trimming. But then we said, well, people are going to want to get to the lake, they're going to want to get to their boathouse, they're going to want to get to their wharf, so except for a 25-foot wide driveway, 10-foot wide access trail, and you can get in there and clean up the dead, fallen debris, sort of maintenance within that 25 meters. On top of that, if you want to cut even more, you go to 7.10. So notwithstanding, that's a planning term, but it basically means forgetting about the above, up to 10% of the land area within the 25 meter setback may be selectively thinned, subject to submitting your erosion control plan. So this has all sorts of holes in it. Clare, down to purple, down to red. Now we're down to the 25, the bit along the lake. Saying if you do have to get in there, you can cut up to 10% of it by showing up with an erosion sedimentation control plan. Maybe it's 10, maybe it's 15, maybe it's 20, maybe there's a different number that PAC may come up with, but pretty sure it's not 70, 80, 90. If that's the case, there's no point in doing this. 7.11, all existing land uses are continue to operate. We don't have to write that. The Municipal Government Act gives you some powers as existing uses, existing dwellings, existing buildings, but we just put it in here to bring a little bit of clarity to that situation. Same with 7.12. Undersized lots in existence prior to adoption of this are permitted to continue as long as they meet the Nova Scotia environment regulations. So I'm going to go back one slide and then let people. Let's just take this one. So Lac d'Amba, all that purple area, that when I said those 5 or 8 uses that were restricted, that applies to the whole purple. The 500 meter that we talked about, that red line, everything inside of there is the outdoor storage and submit an erosion control plan. That's all we're doing inside of that red line. The blue line that you can hardly see because it's almost on the rim of the lake is the 25 meter line. That's where we're saying no development. That's the extra 5 meters from your 20 today. And that's where we're saying 10% cutting is only from that dashed blue line to the edge of the lake, not the rest of this plan. So I guess where we're at, Chair, Mayor, Council. PAC is bringing this forward for an update to the community and to Council. It's a public hearing. It's an opportunity for the public to speak, and then Council will have to determine. You have there's three options that Council always has. I suppose you could approve it tonight and adopt it and move forward. You could turn it down and say no way. Or you could say there's some good bits here. Let's send it back to PAC for a little bit more work, and then bring forward another revision. It's up to you to decide, but the third one seems to make some sense to me, but it's over to Council, I guess, for discussion.
So maybe before we get into comments and questions, I think I'm safe to say that Council is going to send it back to the PAC because of the number of comments we've received, which some of them are very constructive, and the fact that there's such a large number of people here tonight. And the process, the way the process would work is that it would go back to the PAC committee to rework it. But to make its way back to Council for a vote, we'd still need another public hearing, which would mean that this would be presented to the any changes or modifications would be presented to the public at a public hearing, where you'd have a chance again to submit comments or speak to the issue. So I wanted to put that on the table. If Council can correct me, because we haven't made the motion yet, but I'm pretty confident that there'll be a motion made tonight to send it back to the PAC with the comments and papers we've received up to now. But in saying that, the floor is open. Anybody who'd like to make comments or ask questions can come up to the mic, introduce yourself, and
okay. Dominic Hanna. Do I have to stay here? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's televised, so it's
great.
recorded, and it's on. It'll be on Eastlink. So just a fair warning.
No more questions. I guess I'll just go back, and I'm not saying it's the Zwicker group that proposed this about a year and a half ago, but there was a few members. I was looking in the crowd here on a not a similar issue, but if I can go back and say, the population of Clare is reducing. The lakes are not developed like they could be or like they should be. A lot of people are here have lake lots, and that's my concern. I have several concerns, and I won't be able to touch them all tonight, but a year ago, someone came here and did a presentation, and sorry I have to go back to here because this is as concerning for me as it was a year and a half ago. And they proposed that anyone who was going to do a private subdivision had to do a road constructed based on DOT standards. A year ago, a year and a half ago, that was proposed. I'm not saying it got approved, and it was concerning because if a lot sells,
Well, I don't know if that. It's not. It doesn't have to. The only way it has to be DOT standard is for the municipality to take it over. You have the right to subdivide and create a road.
It got changed to that, though, right?
No.
It wasn't from the beginning.
For us to take the road over, it has to be DOT standard. That means the municipality would maintain it, plow it, but anybody can build a road, subdivide it, sell the lots. The only difference is the municipality will not be responsible for its maintenance of the road.
Okay, so you kind of got me to lose my brain.
I apologize
for that wasn't my when I was here, but so okay. One question I had was on the commercial forestry. Either for the person who did the presentation, was it requested that that be removed from the council, or was that something that you came up and say, let's remove it from the presentation?
No, it came from the room. We received 12 written comments.
So if we have 12 written comments on other things, it would get removed from the report as well?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay.
It would be considered at the PAC committee.
Okay.
I mean, I'll say it. Any comment that comes before council is taken seriously. And the committee is working hard at it. It's not a combative, the committee is not trying to pass something that the public doesn't want. I mean, we're trying to come up with a solution to a problem, and if we can find something that works, that's where we'd like to be.
All right. The other question was on 7.3, the lot requirement. I mean, it's a big report and to summarize it. I know you have to summarize it, but could you go a bit more in detail on 7.3? And my question is, when I read it, is I think I read properly that there's already provincial laws there that tell us what we can do and can't do. So why are we changing the provincial existing laws, or it's exactly?
I know where your next question is going, but no, we are not changing the provincial laws. To subdivide and put in a septic system, you need to follow Nova Scotia Department of Environment regulations. That's it.
Which was always the case.
Always the case.
Okay. Again, the next one in the 7.8 outdoor storage. I'm just thinking of a home where there's a garage built in to the house, or I think it's 7.8. You were saying that the storage cannot be closer than the house or cottage. Yeah. So if there's like a hillside cottage, for example, it's the same distance. What happens there?
It's the same distance. You're fine.
Okay, so as long as it's not ahead. The other one is the 7.5, the watercourse setback. I'm not sure, you're the expert on this, but I thought there was already, the regulations are still Nova Scotia.
The existing land use bylaw for Clare has a 20-meter watercourse setback in it. In this area, those 5 areas, we are proposing to increase it to 25.
25,
additional
okay.
5 meters.
Is that going to make a difference?
Well, we started it a lot higher, and that's where we ended up.
Okay. And my last one is the 500 meter, where you were circling the lines on the lakes where,
yeah, right.
The 500, you said there's a certain percentage. I'd like to know the percentage that it doesn't apply, because there's a number that you threw out there, 100. There's places around the lake that you have to be 500 meters.
Yep.
But there's some places where that regulation would not apply.
Yep.
What would be the percentage?
No idea.
50-50, just
no, I'm not even guessing it. It doesn't apply because if this paper is the watershed to this lake,
yeah,
it might be very close on this edge. If you live right there, it's actually, maybe it's draining that way. Okay. So it doesn't impact this lake. So you have to be within the watershed and within the 500 meters.
Okay. That's enough for me, I guess.
Got it.
Thank you.
Merci, commentaire från noter. Anybody else would like to make comments or?
I just got a question. How do you find out about this? Because nobody, I got land on the lakes and on Belleville Lake actually, and we never got no letters or nothing. It's just people that told us and come here. So how do you find out about this stuff?
Are you going to go through the advertising? Right?
Yeah, so the Municipal Government Act, it gives the powers to the municipalities, says you have to announce your first reading, hold a public hearing, announce your final meeting. So there's 2 or 3 notification periods that you have to do. If what we've done, there's a big list here. Sorry, in this one. The way you would find out about this was from any of the above or the below. The 2014 business consultation meetings one-on-one, where WSP went around with PAC members. The 2016 community meeting on lake protection, which was notified to the community.
Yeah.
That was sent out to all the residents, right?
No.
Pardon me, in 2016?
Yeah.
Usually, if memory serves, Clare Shopper, Courier, Facebook,
right.
and website.
Okay, so it's not sent out.
So if you miss that
individual letters, no, sorry, to answer your question.
If you miss that one, you might have got the business consultation in March 2016. If you missed that one, there was a newspaper ad in the Clare Shopper on April 7th. If you missed that, there was a newspaper ad on April 8th. If you missed that, there was the public meeting held on April 13th. Then there was the Facebook posting on June 28th. Then there was the public meeting on June 28th. Then there was the ad on August 17th. Then there was the ad on August 25th, and the final one on September 7th. So
we get a tax bill every year, though. You can send it with the tax bill.
Obviously, somebody found out about it because everybody came here tonight. So we're glad you're here.
Through word of mouth from each other.
Yeah.
Who's actually on this committee that's discussing all this?
We should come.
Like, who is the committee members? They're just.
No.
Well, everybody should come up. I know it's not.
It's
but
just,
to the microphone.
for the minutes so we can record.
Yeah, record it. Plus, it's televised, so it's anybody who's watching it. It's difficult to follow.
To the extent that nobody's talking then.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Larry Spinning, and I'm just wondering who is on the committee deciding where the watershed should follow and everything. That's what I'm saying.
The committee is comprised of municipal councillors and 4 community representatives. The community representatives on the committee are Mark Doucette, Mark Boudreau, Ali Terrio, and Paul Dugas. And the councillors on the committee are Brian Comeau, who's absent this evening, Neil Doucet, Eric Poche, and Carl Deveau.
Okay, thank you. So, how do you decide who sits on this committee?
The committee was the new members of the committee were.
I can see the council members, man. I can
yes,
see that.
the council basically the council, when there's an opening on the council, when a term is complete. There would be we would advertise for an opening on the committee. Typically, again, we would use local media, Clare Shopper, the Courrier, and we're trying to drive more people to our website and our Facebook page as well. So we would advertise openings on that committee, as we would on any other committee.
So that's what you did. You advertised in the Clare Shopper for committee members.
For typically that's what we would do. Right now we're in the process. We will be advertising, for example, for an opening on our audit committee for a community representative, and that is the means that we'll go about advertising. Will be through those.
Okay, I don't think you answered. That is what you did on this one too. You just said typically we do. You didn't tell me.
The members of the committee for this particular committee predate me, so I can only assume that would have been my predecessor who put that committee together. So I can't speak for her. But normally, in going forward, that's how we have been since I've been here, and that's how we will continue to operate, is to advertise any openings on any committees as they come up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sharon Gadet, landowner. I'm just wondering about this outdoor storage. Is this for new construction, or is this pre-existing as well?
It's if you're already there and you already have outdoor storage legally,
yes,
then you're probably allowed to continue it.
Good, because somebody's going to have to pay to move it, because I ain't paying to move.
Okay.
Generally, though, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Greg, but generally anything that's in place before a plan is approved is grandfathered in.
Yeah, if it was there legally, it had some rights to do so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Please.
Hi there. My name's Don. I'm just concerned what outdoor storage means. Like, are you talking about bags of fertilizer sitting on the lawn or in a shed?
No, it's spelled out right here. No, it's not. It's not in a shed.
No,
that's a different thing.
So we're talking about if it's left outside to the elements.
That's right.
Okay.
You can't have a pile of
fertilizer, etc.
derelict vehicles, fertilizer, pesticides, or manure.
That's what I was concerned with. If it's in a building, secured from the weather, it's okay?
Go for it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Jamie Terrio. My question is a two-part question and comment, I guess. I was just wondering, I own a potable water business, okay? So I deal with water. So this is to protect the watershed, right?
Right.
So to protect the water. Why can anybody come and build next to my registered well that I'm environmentally approved and everything, but you can come store anything beside my well that's actually been approved for since 2004, I believe. Water comes in at over 1,000 gallons a minute, but then you want to protect these lakes. So why can anybody come next to my registered well, true Nova Scotia environment and everything, and it wouldn't make a difference? Why isn't anybody protecting that?
Well, hopefully you're protecting it. It's on your property and your well.
Yeah, I can protect my property, but
right.
You can come build a shed. You can come build a shed.
Yep.
So what's the difference?
That's right.
And is this water actually tested and proven to be potable? Is all this water potable water?
Not necessarily, no.
So if it's not potable water, why protect it?
Lakes are beneficial for a lot more things than just drinking.
Explain.
Environment, fishing, recreation.
So, but is the water tested? So are these fish...
The municipality does not test water. That's an environment issue.
Okay. So why protect all these things? Like, is it like you want to protect the watershed? Is it for later on to actually use it as potable water? Or
I suppose could be, sure.
But we don't know if it's good or not. Like, do you know all the levels in this lake, or
no?
So we're just doing this for what?
No, we're doing this to try. We're trying to make an attempt at preserving some of the beauty of this municipality for the future generations.
Well, our generation's going, and like somebody said earlier, our generation or our community is going down. So if we want to attract people, one of the nicest spots in our community are the lakes.
Yes.
So all of a sudden, if you're putting all these bylaws or whatever that you can't cut trees and have a nice lawn in front of your camp, why would somebody come here? Why do you want to build a camp if you can't cut your trees? The beautiful spot is the lake. So all of a sudden, you're building a cottage, and all you can see is trees.
Right. So we're allowing you to cut within that buffer, that 10%.
That 10%.
We're allowing the cutting for that trail.
10%.
Hold on. Hey.
Go like that. Oh, I can kind of see the lake over there.
All right.
Yeah. Our taxes are nice and high on our lakes. Like, so what's the? I don't get it. Like, I just don't understand.
Okay.
That's it.
More or less asking if they're polluted now.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Maché.
But they can't answer. No.
You didn't let me answer, sir.
My name is Felix Camo. I've been here before. I sent in the written submission. I sent in two, one for the Clare Woodlot Association and one for myself. And because I sent one in, I got this second paper that you prepared that was sent to us by Mr. Poirier. And when you put it beside the first one that you guys made out, it just raises more questions. I'm going to go through a few of the things I wrote down. You said you had 12 written submissions.
Yep.
These are more or less concerns against and things like that?
Yep.
Would you say? How many did you get for it?
Probably 2 of the 12.
So there was only 10 that were against it,
right.
More or less.
Yep.
And 2 were for. You did not mention that in here.
Right.
So were they not very forceful, or why didn't you mention it?
There's no reason why.
Because
I tried to address the concerns.
There's a great majority of people more that are against it that are for it.
Okay.
You'd have to say that.
Sure.
Okay. You say, number 1, more clarity on bylaw definition. This is what the people asked.
Yep.
They said they were vague and confusing, caused confusion. Then you list auto salvage, commercial agriculture, forestry, commercial livestock, industrial land use, watercourse, and alteration of land.
Yeah.
When you made this document. On the next page, you say, for definitions not included in the LUB, would you explain LUB?
Land use bylaw.
Okay. New definitions will be created and adopted regarding auto salvage, commercial agriculture, commercial forestry, and alteration of land.
Yep.
So when you made this document, you had no definition of auto salvage, commercial agriculture, commercial forestry, and alteration of land. You say that.
Yep.
So you're making laws about things you don't know about.
Oh, okay.
Basically.
That's not even
and you say this will be brought in after, proposed new definitions will be included and will brought in after.
Yep.
So you make the law.
No, you can't.
Then you bring in new definitions.
No, you're wrong, sir. You can't bring in the bylaw without the definitions. This is the piece that needs to go back to PAC for working on those definitions. You're right in calling that out as a piece that needs work, but it has to go back to PAC to bring those forward.
Well, why would these 4 be included if there were no definitions? It should have stopped there and not gotten to here.
Okay.
Thank you. Impact of land area. Express concerns, okay, and you define watercourse. These properties that are within the 500 meters of these 5 secondary watersheds, you say they need an erosion and sedimentation control plan. So, is there a charge to this? You go for a permit here, it costs money. Is there a charge?
No. You have to prepare one, either on your own or with an engineer.
So there's a
whoever you
cost.
use. Probably.
So these lands are being discriminated against in comparison to all the other lands in the municipality.
They definitely are.
You think that's fair?
I agree with you.
It used to be that black people had to sit at the back of the bus.
Yeah, that's different. I'm not answering that one.
I know you won't answer it, because to us it feels the same way.
Okay.
We're the landowners, we protect it, and then we have all these extra costs if we want to do something on it.
Yep.
At least that should be free. Outdoor storage. No derelict vehicles, fertilizers, pesticides, manure, unless they're in a building. Now, if I want a load of manure to put on my flower beds or in my garden, I plant a garden, do I have to make a building to dump it in or put it in my garage?
No.
That's not going to be very pleasant, is it? And some people do that. You call people who have mink ranch or something, and they haul you a load of manure, and you take it as you need it.
Right. So there needs to be a time frame around that. You can have manure on your yard for a day, a week, a month, but this is
well,
not
that's
meant
not
to
what
be
the
a
law
pile
says.
of.
That's not what the law says.
What law?
The one you want to bring in.
Right.
Well, in all fairness, he's not bringing in any law. It's council ultimately that
Yes,
goes
but-
for or against.
Okay. So I
And
talk
at
to
the
you
end of
then.
the day, well,
So we can do-
I'd rather you. I'm just saying.
we can leave him out of the picture.
That's okay.
But I'm just saying, just as a matter of fact, you know, council will. We're taking this very seriously, and your points are we're taking them seriously as well. But at the end of the day, council has to evaluate, and that's why we are sending it back for further examination.
An example, I live on Innocent Lake. The last month I had an old vehicle that I used parts to fix my truck. Derelict vehicles have to be in a building. So I have to build a garage to put the old truck in to save $500 to put on my other truck, and the building cost me $30,000. You know, how many derelict vehicles do you mean by derelict vehicles? If you just have one, do you have to have a building to put it in? I'm talking to you now.
The comments are being registered.
Good. Now, if you spread the manure on your lawn or in your beds or your flowers, is that against the law? If you're within the 25-meter zone?
No.
No?
Not this bylaw. No.
I'm talking to you now.
Well, he's the expert.
Yeah, you weren't going to get
on
an
this.
answer over there on that one.
I'm not?
He was not going to answer that question, so I thought I could help you out, sir.
Well, thank you. Clarity is good. You say
Now he's coming back this way.
clear cutting, okay?
Yep.
I spoke to a forester. Clear cutting, if you cut one tree, that's a clear cut, where that tree was.
Okay.
If you cut 10 acres clear, there's nothing left, that's a clear cut.
Right.
You want to replace commercial forestry with clear cutting. That's what you say in the second document.
Yep.
I hope you will define clear cutting.
Yep.
Because it's not very clear here. Now, there are places where stands of trees are diseased, and they have to be clear cut to protect the other ones.
So we should put a special exemption in for that.
Now, Crown Land, they tend to cut everything, but you had your chance to talk, mister.
I support you for that.
Like clear cutting can be part of sustainable forestry practice in certain instances. So to use those words is very misleading, and you should find another word.
I'm going to speak on behalf of PAC. We want to talk to this industry about how to sort that out. We need your help. We're asking
Well,
for
that
your...
would be good, but I'm going to come to that. You say we can cut up to 10%, like in front of a house lot or a camp or something like that. Aside from that 25-foot road or 10-foot lane or dead and dying trees. You can cut 10%. Anybody who knows anything about woods and forestry, if you cut 10% in a spot, the next year that 10% is gone. The leaves are brought in, the branches grow, it's another wall of trees. Can you cut 10% per year, per month, until you're satisfied? Or how long does this 10% rule apply?
Right. Okay.
Very vague. In places where trees are thick as like hairs on a dog, you can cut 80% and it's still almost, you almost still can't see through it.
Right.
And there are places like that.
Yeah.
So that 10% is very bad. Okay, I got that part. You say impact on Acadian heritage. That was my big thing.
It was.
I like heritage and history, and my whole family was in the where my house is. There was 2 sawmills, my father's and my grandfather's, and there used to be trout in the lake, and now there's no more, and there's no more sawmills. So maybe we should put a sawmill in there to bring the trout out. Family woodlots that are managed in a sustainable manner are permitted to continue within the zone.
Yeah.
So if Mr. Thériault or Como or LeBlanc is used to cutting one here, one there, you say that's fine. But it's not written in the bylaw yet. That should be written in there if it's fine. Because if it's not written in, the development officer can come around and say, whoa, you're doing something that's not right. That's why you shouldn't pass the law before all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, and all these things that you're going to bring in afterwards should be brought in before. And if they're brought in before, you should have meetings with the public so they can see them before it gets to this stage.
Well, technically this is the public hearing.
I'm coming to that.
Yeah.
Lack of public knowledge and engagement. You list, I think it's 12 items where the municipality advised the public. I wrote this one down. I challenge you to show in any of these notices, so publicized, that it states clearly the restrictive nature of this bylaw change as it affects woodlot owners. To hide behind an advertisement that has no details whatsoever but the bylaw number and refers you to a maze of computer wizardry in order to reach a legal document that very few would understand, but a property land lawyer is not in line with community consultation and awareness. Thank you.
Can I second that?
What? Merci Felix. Your comments, I saw Greg was taking notes.
Yes.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak?
Can you go twice?
Sure.
Dominic Hanna again. Has council approved any more money funding for additional lake studies except these 5?
No.
Okay. The other thing is, if and this would be my recommendation to the public, because it's being done by the Zwicker Group, you guys approve it, but 12 letters can remove something from this bylaw or this report that is very hard to read. Felix, I agree. So if 12 letters can stop or remove something from this bylaw, I wonder what 20 letters could do, or 40 or 50 or 100 letters could do. And for all the lake owners here, commercial is already removed, so probably half the people could leave the room because we got what we wanted. But on lake lots, if there are 15 lake lots and there's more than 10% of clear cutting, lack of a better word, or more than 10% of the wood that's cut off the front, and you see the lake in 10 feet, I don't think I could even bring my boat to the lake, but or 25 feet. If there's 25 lots that are already cut out and they're open and they're nice lawn up to the lake, and someone has 15 lots that are not divided, which I do have 15 lots that are not divided on one lake, which I'm hearing that maybe it's going to be part of phase 2. And I'm trying to sell those, and the going rate for a lake lot, let's say it's $40,000. And I can only cut 10%. And then if because I can only cut 10%, the value of those property, in my opinion, would go down, because like anyone who is on a lake, you want to look at the lake, motorboats going in the lake, polluting the lake, and all that stuff. We're not talking about that here, but if you go from 40,000 down to 20,000 and you got 15 lots, you're losing a lot of money. That's affecting me personally, and I know a lot of people here that are trying to develop lake lots. If there maybe, and I'm just going to guess, you guys would know better, there might be 50, 60, 70 lake lots in Clare that are sold. There's very limited development in Clare to start off with. And I think if we approve this 10% clearing, which I'm not sure if it's 10% view or 10% in front of the cottage. I'm not sure how the definition is done.
You have an issue with the 10%.
Yeah.
What should it be?
A lot more than 10.
Just throw a number out there.
Okay, before I answer that question, I'll ask a question. If one of your sections, and I don't know which one, if the settlement, and if you do it properly, and there's no runoff to the lake,
yeah.
If you do 100% clearing, does it affect the lake?
For sure.
100% guaranteed?
Yeah.
If it's done properly?
I don't know how it's done properly if it's cut and grass to the lake.
So you're asking me a question when, if you're the expert, if we go more than 10%, does it affect the lake?
Depends what you do in there.
20%.
No,
just 20%.
Okay, maybe 20%. This is why this is going back to PAC. But here's the issue. Clearing right to that lake, and then putting that lawn right down to the edge, right to the water's edge, like everybody loves to have. It's the Nova Scotian dream. Okay, well, I'm referring back to your comments about how valuable those lots are. After leaky septic systems, probably the second biggest thing.
Two different issues.
I know. I'm going to the second. I'm going to the second one.
Okay.
I let you talk, sir.
Yep.
Probably the second worst thing you can do is have that grass right to the edge, with fertilizers, spraying, whatever else is on those lawns, right in there.
Okay, so I mean, there's not a lot of people that spray lawns around here. I'm not sure if you drove around the lakes. Have you been to these lakes?
I've been to all these lakes.
Okay, so I'm just wondering if 10% is not. I agree. I think that 10% is not the number.
Right,
I mean, so, but I'm just wondering, does 20% affect it?
I think you need to send that back to PAC and ask them for a.
Are you on the
review
committee?
No.
Okay. So we have to send
this.
Well, essentially, and we haven't made the motion, but I said it's going back to the PAC committee.
Yeah.
So all those questions are going to be looked at the comments. If you had further comments, send them into the committee. The committee is going to examine everything that we've received and try to see if there's something that's acceptable and that works.
Okay, so just one more little detail here. If 90% is cut, I'm just picking 90% is cut to the lake, there's no lawn done, and the sewer is approved, the septic is approved, would there be an issue there?
It depends what's happening behind it. Those trees are there, those roots are there, those plants are there to help filter. That 25 meters is meant to be the filter to the lake. If we take it to 0, no filter.
The 25 meters is the filter?
That's right.
So if the 25 meters is the filter, I'm not sure if I understand the 10% clear cutting. Or the above 10% would be, you're telling me that 25 meters is the filter?
The distance back from the lake. That's right. That's why we put that there.
Which, okay, if I'm okay with that, let's say we're going from 60 feet to 70 feet, we're okay with that. And we cut all the trees here, and we don't plant grass. What would that affect the lake? And the sewer is approved and maintained. Would that affect the lake?
I don't know. It's going to be a pretty ugly lot, though.
That's just your opinion, though. I mean, I just want to know. I'm trying to understand here, like what, I understand the lawn, but I mean, lawns don't go all the way to the lake. I mean, do you have a cottage? Can I ask that? You have a cottage?
Yeah.
Do you have lawn?
Yeah.
Up to the lake?
Nope.
Okay. anyways, my recommendation would be if 12 letters can stop the commercial, we should be very proactive on trying to do this. And Ronnie, I'm not trying to go against the council, and I know it's a public meeting, but again, like Felix said, it's a public meeting, but technically the vote could have happened today.
No.
Yes.
No. Well,
you said it.
It could have, but it wasn't going to.
If the members would say, let's vote on this and let's vote in favor, it could have happened.
It could,
and that's very scary.
But
you know.
Show your papers in the garbage.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I want to say, council is not here to push anything through. Maybe that's the appearance of what council is trying to do, but in reality, we're looking for feedback. We're trying to do, you know, when it comes to watershed, the committee was looking at protecting that for years and years into the future. But if public doesn't want it, then it's the public's right to tell us they don't want it.
Here's a 50, 60, and 8 lot developer that I was talking about. I didn't even know you were here.
I arrived late.
Gary?
Gary Belleville, we met before.
Yep.
You were here when you told me I couldn't read. Well, this time I didn't read everything. I didn't have it. I seen some of it here. I see you got 10 lakes up there. I understand it's 5 lakes.
It's 5.
You say there's a 500-meter setback. Now, I was told by a guy this morning that if the watershed is flowing to that lake, that it can be more than 500 meters. Is that correct?
That was wrong.
I seen a map that showed the W zone further back than 500 meters.
That's right.
So that's not true. It stops at 500 meters, or it can go further back.
No. Within that purple, all that watershed, all that applies is those list of uses that you cannot do.
Yeah.
The rest of these things, with the cutting, the erosion control plan, tree removal, outdoor storage, all that starts at the 500.
Yeah. You were talking about sewer earlier. Dominic was. Sewers can pollute, but if they're done properly, of course, the province of Nova Scotia says that they don't, and the province of Nova Scotia recently changed that I can put a septic tank within 15 meters of the lake.
Yeah, it's done properly.
And I know for a fact, well, I don't know the actual numbers, but I know that Lake George is the drinking water of Yarmouth, and their setback distances are much less than what you are requesting or suggesting. I do know that I've been offered land on Lake George, and I've refused to look at it because you're not allowed to build anything within 300 feet of the lake. And I think you can cut up to 300 feet also, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But I know it's much less than what you're suggesting.
Well, we're much better than both of what you just said. You can't build within 300 feet of Lake George?
Correct. Build.
We're at 25 meters.
Yeah.
75 feet.
Any other lake in Yarmouth is less than that.
Okay.
Fairly less.
Yeah.
And it's currently at 20 meters. I don't know why they want to change it to 25, but that's not my decision, I guess, or my thing. I do know that one of the guys, I can't say I know, I'm told that one of the guys on the board recently cut his land on one of these lake clear cut. I was told. And I have a problem also with that 10% trees. Is that 10% of trees? Is it 10% of canopy? The rule of the province is you can cut up to 20 or 25%, but that's canopy, not trees.
Right.
So if you cut one big tree, maybe you can't cut any more.
Right. Yeah, okay.
And what happens when the trees dies? When somebody has a whole box of copper nails and he goes around the lake one night?
You can cut and clean them, get them out of there.
At this time, that's all I have to say, because like I said, I wasn't aware of all of these rules and I didn't have time to study, but I would like to be informed of a former meeting or anything and go to it. Thanks for your time.
Merci, Gary.
My name is Don LeBlanc from 2nd Division Road, District 4. And I've heard the warden tonight say that the council takes this matter seriously, and I've also heard that there have been a number of advertisements, announcements, public notices. I think the group that's here tonight gives testimony to the fact that we're all hardworking, busy, and perhaps shame on us if we've missed those notices, but I think a number of people tonight feel like they've been surprised by the progress of this project. Knowing that the Act may allow for simply a notice in the newspaper to suffice, I want to ask that the council tonight, if possible, create the opportunity to direct, perhaps through the CAO, that any landowner who holds a lot that can be taxed be either notified of any pending action or allowed to put themselves on a notification list of either email, telephone, or written letter. I feel the impact of this potential change is sufficient that perhaps it's more work for the staff, but it seems to be, from public reaction, a worthwhile thing to do, such that any future meeting of the PAC or of the council or meetings with the consultant give the people who are most likely to be directly affected the chance to have a notice and to show up for those meetings.
We do have, and maybe it's our fault that it's not widely known, but we do have a distribution list where if you send an email to the list, and once you've sent an email there, you receive notification of all council meetings. You even get the agendas of each council meeting in
and if that is specific to meetings of subgroups like the PAC, then that would work.
We could, if it's not, we could expand it to reach to all the committee. Maybe that's something we could explore.
I would hope you'd generate a lot of civic interest and civic attendance.
If I may, to your point around notification, I've had over the past week had a discussion with a number of industry representatives. That this is pertaining mostly to commercial forestry and the impacts that this bylaw would could produce. So going forward, in terms of communication, we've discussed about communicating directly with these industry groups, and in the hopes that they would use their distribution list and distribute that information directly to their membership. So that's another option that going forward I think we will look to take advantage of.
Well, I've been in other jurisdictions where any proposal of legislation, bylaw, or action that can affect a landowner has resulted in direct mailings to those folks ahead of time so that they have chance. So I think that might be more work, but as you said, sir, this is serious.
Yeah, we'll certainly take a look at it. Something should be able to be done.
For the record, I'm Stanley Boudreau. I'm president of Leonard Boudreau Holdings, which owns, I'm probably safe to say that we're one of the largest landowners in the affected area, not so much beyond Meteghan. My biggest concern is the value eliminated by these zones and the inability to continue to operate our business in an efficient way. I don't know where you took the picture about clear cutting, but we've been silviculturing, clear cutting, whatever needs to be done to the property for close to 40 years, and I've never seen, that's the worst picture I've ever seen of any clear cutting. Well, I mean, you should be sensible and not show just the worst. If you're going to be neutral and fair, you should show what's happening. We've clear cut probably close to 500 acres in the last 40 years, some of which is very close to reharvest. It's a crop that we harvest. It's a way of earning added income to our living, and we're quite concerned about limiting even clear cutting. That there are many cases we have silvicultured lots 4 or 5 times, and in the end, many of those lots, after 30 years of silviculture, you end up with tall trees that blow down, and the only way to salvage the money out of that lot is to do a clear cut. Often there's new generation underneath already taken, and it's actually better for that woodlot to do a clear cut at that time. There's also diseased areas in the forest. If you, I hate to pick a spot, I don't own property there, but if you drive by Comoville and you look beyond the swamp there, you see all the dead trees. Any people who know forestry a little bit will say there will be a forest fire there within a few years, because all that brush is dead and dying and falling to the ground. All we need is one spark to ignite it. I don't have any properties that look like that at all. They're well managed. I consult with foresters to do what needs to be done. The concept of harvesting 10-20% is almost invalid because nobody can afford to economically do it anymore. Try to find somebody with a tractor that wants to go cut 10% of the trees in Digby County, and I'm prepared to hire them. So you have to kind of consult the forestry industry a bit more than has been done. And I don't get upset too much as I get older, but I do get upset with the smile and smirk that you had about how good a communicator you were for these consultations. I live in Clare. I'm active in many social functions. I met members of this committee all through the summer. There's one that talked that maybe something was happening. And many of the people in my community know that I own forest land. I heard about this at the pharmacy in late August, a week before I went on vacation. So I would have got involved if I had known anything about it. I personally feel that the Planning Advisory Committee should have at least one person that has acreage in the affected areas. That's one suggestion that I'm making. I'm also making the suggestion that your concept of clear cutting in your answer to my brief is not acceptable, that some cases clear cutting should be permitted. I have never seen any lots that I or my neighbors have clear cut that you see water and mud going into the brook like that picture showed. It's illegal. As soon as you get one hunter or one fisherman going through that lot, that person is going to get reported and action will be taken. So there's already laws to make sure that doesn't happen. My last concern is valuation for these cottage lots, and I don't know about everybody, but I know that a lot of people, they buy a cottage to see the lake, to physically see the lake. And with all my experience in the woods in the last 15-20 years, many cottage operators would probably want to cut many of the trees, not all. They like to save some shade trees and have a comfortable area. I'm not an expert at how to prevent siltation from going into the lake. I think there's ways of doing that with having a lawn on your lake that you can enjoy your lake and not pollute and not mess up the lake. I think there's some expert somewhere that can find what the measure is. And I personally think that the 20 meter is an acceptable form. We've learned to live with that. Why change it? Is 5 meters going to make that much difference to making the lakes better? And my absolute last thing is that many of these lakes you're talking about have had no zoning, no bylaws, and they're no worse than any of the other lakes in Clare. So why are we doing it? That's my big question. In my case, I've got a lot of properties on those 3 lakes, Ariette, Bellevaux, and the Bartlett Lake. And it's going to eliminate probably 20% of the value of my business, or our business, I should say. We're 3 family members in the business. So I hope that you see it fit, and the committee sees it fit, that it will not eliminate completely clear cutting. I don't know what's a reasonable answer, but there's already a lot of laws that prevent us from siltation any brook, stream, or waterway. So that's pretty well covered already. So I leave it to council to try not and ruin my business. I've been trying to run a business in Clare for 40 years, and it's not easy.
Merci.
My name is David Dow. I'm a woodlot owner as well on Bellevaux Lake. As a rule, lawyers for the most part like new laws. In this case, maybe not so much on my part. What I would really wonder about first is the use of a pilot project. And while I understand the use of pilot projects in relation to anything, I would hope that when council considers this entire process, that you are not considering 5 lakes. The step from 5 lakes to the entire 5 areas, which is in the entire municipality of Clare, is a natural progression. If this law makes sense at 5, it makes sense at all. So if it doesn't make sense at 5,
make sure that it makes sense at all, or don't do it, would be my first thought. When I look to legislation, and I look most of the time, legislation is being drafted and being considered to address an evil. And I'm still, after sitting in this room, and I must admit I only read this quickly because I only became aware of it a very short time ago myself, the legislation itself would seem to be missing definition in many places, but I don't know what in full is the evil that you're addressing. If the evil is dirty water, and our major problem, or one of our major problems, is in relation to septic fields, and it doesn't address septic fields, it doesn't address that evil. If the problem is in clear cutting down to lakes and removing buffer zones completely, a well placed 10% cut in a spruce forest, with the winds that we're getting and the more winds that we're going to be getting in the future with all of the hurricanes, I can turn 10% into 100% of my land mass within 2 storms. It doesn't say anything about how to deal with that. The other thought I have is in a thought in relation to provincial legislation versus municipal legislation. And by your own presentation tonight, my understanding is a lot of this is being dealt with in provincial legislation. And if it is being dealt with adequately in provincial legislation, why would we just have a new law to go further, or to bring in all kinds of other questions that provincial legislation maybe already considered and backed away from? So I'd be interested in seeing the comparison between what this is supposed to achieve, will achieve, and what's already out there in the provincial legislation aspect of it. The other thought that comes to mind, and I mean a lot of the other ones that I've had have been covered here tonight, and I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but I don't see anything in any of the presentation in relation to enforcement. And the question that arises for me is, how many people are we going to enforce this legislation? How many people are you going to hire to be able to go out and actually look at it? Or is it another case that we're going to put some laws in the books and we're only going to use them when somebody complains? And if no one complains, they don't get used. So they don't get enforced in an equitable fashion. They don't get enforced in a fashion that can be argued in court or looked at, or that stands the scrutiny of fairness or equity in the law. Those would be my questions to council. Thank you.
Thank you there.
Thank you.
Anybody? Richard.
Good evening. I'm Dennis Boudreau, a landowner from Concession, taxpayer in this municipality. I find it very strange of the format of this exercise, if I can call it. We have councillors, I guess I shouldn't put any blame, but they're supposed to be responsible to who they've got elected by. So in this exercise, to my knowledge, on my farm, on my woodlot enterprise, we had not have one call from our councillor or the council period. That's a great concern to me. So if there's a two-way street, maybe we've been lenient, but definitely council has been lenient on that side too. I just want to raise that.
Fair enough.
Secondly, I think I've been on quite a few agriculture committees in this province. It really bothers me to believe that this advisory committee has no farmer, has no woodland operator. The industry that we're trying to protect, they're not at the table. That's a great concern. The council kind of went over their head and missed some opportunities of having a totally fair system. If you're going to put fair laws, have it all sides at the table. So I guess my first option would be throw this away, it's not needed. The second option, if you have to do it in a different way and make sure that the public knows.
Merci. Var jag kvar 20 personer där ute, No, is there anyone else who'd like to speak? I know Felix. Oh.
Hi there, my name is Jean-Marc Leblanc. I just have a question. It would be, I guess, for the members, I guess, instead of this guy here. Who and how much is this, who's paying for the study? Like, this guy doesn't work for free, obviously. So how much did it cost for him to come up with what he did so far, at least in the last year, I guess from what I heard tonight? And is it the municipality that pays for it? Is it the province, or is it a shared cost between the three levels of government, or how does it work?
Basically, it's a budgeted item in our budget, which is a public document. If you look under the planning section of our budget, there is a line item there that says watershed planning. The amount that was budgeted this year, I believe, is just slightly over 13,000. I don't have the exact number for you.
All right. No. Okay. That's what that was my question. And another, the other only question, or I guess comment, I would say, is that from what I heard around the room, like everybody else, I don't know very much about beforehand. I wasn't able to study much, but if the province has its own enforcement, its own laws, its own whatever, the environment, you know what I mean? Isn't it already good enough? Instead of keeping on the municipality spending, okay, let's say last year, the fiscal year, we spent 13,000. So now, this gentleman here wants to redo it again, restudy it. So it'll take another year and another 13, well, then he's gonna call and say, well, there's a lot of stuff that people said at the meeting, so it's gonna cost 20,000. So then the municipality is, I'm just saying, ballparking, is going to be 50,000. And honestly, from what I've heard around here, 9 out of 10 people are not really even interested in being here tonight. It's not really that. The laws are there are really through the province, and that's just my opinion. It's good enough. Leave well be alone, and then we can all go home and be merry. Thank you.
Merci. As-tu quelqu'un d'autre? Anybody else? Okay, there.
My name is Darren Comeau. I have a property on a lake that's not on your chart here. And I'll make myself feel old, but 40 years ago, I started going there when my parents built the family cottage. And we enjoyed that as children and grew up and used it as adults, and we still do. And we now have children, and as many people do. And I'm not a scientist, so I don't know the effects of many things that you refer to and what they are on the lakes and the water systems. But this lake that I'm on has about 100 properties, with probably 80% of them having clear-cut lawn to the lake. And from what I remember when I was a kid, I don't quite remember when I was 4, but not long after that I started remembering. We brought out the boat and we had to wash it, and we still do, and it looks the same as it did at the time. And we fished when we were kids, and we still do, and there's fish. So I don't doubt that there's effects from lawn to the lake or whatever else it may be, but are we overdoing it a bit? I dare say that this tip of the province probably has some of the cleanest lakes in the province and parts of the country. So maybe we could leave well enough alone, and because if we see garbage, so, you know, sometimes there's something happens and there's a piece of garbage in the water, the next boat that goes by picks it up. So we are taking, you know, relatively care of what we can do for the lake, and I think we're happy with things the way they are. We don't feel we're destroying anything, and I dare say there's industries or cities that do a lot more damage than we do here. Thank you.
Merci, Darren.
Adrian Como. I'd like to reiterate on Jean-Marc's point. Thank you for bringing it up. Stefan, you just said that the budget was 13,000 for this year.
For this current fiscal.
For this current fiscal year, but last year the budget was 19 26,750,
Yes.
and they
sounds about right. Yes. Sorry.
I have it here.
Okay.
And they spent 27,788.
Yes.
And
That
the
was
year
with-
before was
with
25.
with council permission.
Okay. I'm just saying it.
No,
You said
please,
13, but it's actually up to 66 if it goes to 13 this year.
Okay.
So I just want to throw that out there.
Fair enough. If those are the numbers, yes.
So,
my name is Daniel Muse. I have property on Billable Lake, I guess. More of a suggestion, maybe a comment, I don't know, but I'm assuming that the waterways in Clare are not the only ones in the province. So there's probably other waterways coming into our waterways. So maybe a suggestion is to approach the other municipalities and counties to protect those waterways, since we want to protect the ones that are leaving here. The ones coming in are just as important, I would think. So it's more of a comment. All right. Yeah. Yeah, that's all I have. Thanks.
Merci.
Brian Woodrow, landowner on Billable Lake. What's the purpose of this? Are these 5 lakes polluted? Is there something wrong with them?
This is PAC looking to the future to try to bring something in now to prevent exactly what you're asking.
So if it's been working like it's going now, why change something?
Okay, that's an option for a PAC and council to choose, for sure.
And another big thing with this meeting is, I'm not talking for everybody, but I'm not the smartest one here, and I can't read a whole lot. So if you guys post things that people can't read in Clare, most of them are lobster fishermen or woods person, how can you find out to come here? I found out at 4:45 tonight, like most people here probably. It's pretty ridiculous. We all pay taxes and we all get tax bills pretty often. It can be written on there. That's it.
Merci.
It's me again.
Right.
Just to emphasize what Dennis Boudreau said about involving people in the industry or landowners or camp owners or just plain woodlot owners. You said this is going back to the PAC. Does the council have a commitment that if this goes back to the PAC, will you entertain the idea of having public meetings well advertised about what this is about, so that before it comes back to council, after it leaves PAC, that the public has been informed and they know what's happening and they can put their 2 cents worth before it gets to this? Everybody who is here tonight has something to say. They may not come up to the mic. Sometimes when you speak or when you don't speak, people think you're an idiot, and when you open your mouth, they found out you are. And sometimes that happens to me. But if nobody says anything, nothing happens. So I would like to see if there's a commitment from council that after this goes to PAC, that the public will be well informed and they have a chance to give their 2 cents worth. And that goes to all these councillors.
I think I'm
And
going to
that-
go out on a limb and say I'll make that commitment. But
And I'd like to give thanks to the 2 councillors who answered my email. I won't name them. But of the 8 councillors that are on this board, only 2 answered back. And I would have liked to see 8 answers. At least a thank you for the comments. Thank you.
Merci. Merci.
René Béliveau.
Some time ago, I, by the way, was a cottage owner in Clare, and all of a sudden, the lake in front of my cottage turned grass green. And then there was a lot of finger pointing going on as who was causing it. The same thing happened in another watercourse that is close to this area. And yet, so we're trying to protect waterways, but you mentioned a while back that you don't want to do any sampling. Now, how do we know how much we're protecting our watercourses if we don't have any measure of their health? And I'm just wondering, you mentioned the Department of Environment that was in their bailiwick. But when all the lakes turned green there a few years ago, Department of Environment said they didn't have any water test. And finally, a professor from Acadia University came, and he took a water test up and down the water courses and found where the source of the contamination was. And I suspect there was a word about suing Department of Environment and so on, so they hadn't seen anything or done anything or didn't intend to. So anyway, all of this smirky stuff just to suggest that I think it's very important to do some water testing in the lakes concerned. I can see at the inflow of the lake and at the outflow of the lake would be a good way to go. Places, the headwater lakes like Belleville Lake, there's just an outflow, so that would be easy. But why do all of this work if you're not going to have any idea of the health? If something happens to be polluting the lake and coming on, we could catch it. But this way, we just don't know. So anyway, that's my 5 cents.
Merci. As-tu quelqu'un? Ouais. Yeah.
Sorry, Felix. You know, the way it was presented, and I feel, and I talked to a lot of, I knew about the meeting maybe a week ago, but it takes more than a week to understand this. But I feel the way it came about and the way it was presented, and I know you got to do it. You have 10 minutes. You can't do it all, but you know, this is telling us what we can't do, and it's not telling us how we should be doing it. So that, you know, the way the presentation, in my opinion, I've been to a lot of presentations, I really did not like the way it was presented. It may not have been your fault, but I didn't like it. The second point I'd like to make tonight is I challenge any councillor here tonight to make a motion to say that you guys scrap the report completely and someone should second it. And Neil, you're my councillor, and I'd like to see that motion come from you. Because tonight a motion could be made, because it could be made to approve this report, not approve it, or review it. But like someone already said, if everything's okay, nothing's wrong, and we have good lakes, and Darren's been going in a lake from 40 years ago to now, and the fish are still there, the water looks the same color, why are we continuing to do this? So I'm challenging actually any councillor tonight to make a motion to not approve this report as presented. And someone second it and have a motion. Thank you.
Okay, Gary, we'll let you go.
Please excuse my appearance. I spent the evening as a volunteer to ensure the success of the Grand Fondo.
Merci.
Merci. I just wanted the fact to be known, or a few things to be known. In looking through some documents, in 1979, I believe, a document was brought to the Municipal Council as a long-term plan. One of the items was certain lakes in Clare that should be protected. There was a recommendation in that document that the municipality should look at acquiring the properties that surrounded those potential reservoirs. Looking back, in my view, it was short-sighted, or the municipality overlooked something. There was no development on all these lakes, or many of these lakes. So to have this all of a sudden dropped on us, where you have lots that are, or lakes that are fairly developed or fully developed, which are included in this map, is almost like a form of expropriation to an extent. I wasn't planning on speaking, so I have no notes with me, but many different things come to mind. Most have been covered. That was the big one. To me, and my family and many other people I've spoken to, the area of Clare is not a candidate for protected waterways as this is presented. Just by the sheer number of lots that approach every lake. When you look throughout the province, and I don't have all the resources to do it, but in looking and in our business we're in logging, so you drive around the back roads a lot of places, and many of these watersheds, they're surrounded by Crown land, large forest company lands, Irving and so forth. But these lands haven't been touched in 30, 40 years, which is maybe when they were put into the system. There was no development at that time. There has been none since, and nobody is interested in even trying to develop because of the severe restrictions that the watershed regulations place on them. So that is, like as I said, my view and the view of my family and many others. You have these, just for example, looking at this map, you have 1, 2, 3 areas. You have roads traveling right through the middle of watershed areas that will be sanded, salted, plowed, shoulders graded. So is that exempt? How does that work?
Yep.
Yeah, just for 400 lots on these, he states. There's others. There's another system right nearby that I know. There's the same thing, over 380 lots. Every one of them a taxpayer. Many of them that plan to develop is just a matter of time. Age or finances are the little hurdle, but eventually it will happen. Taxpayers as well. There's a lot of groundwater in the Meteghan, Soniaville, Church Point area. Pristine groundwater. Unlimited groundwater. We used to dig wells and do all sorts of contract work in the area. You just couldn't do what you couldn't dig the well you wanted because there was just too much water. The water table has stayed the same every year. It's not going down. It's a prime resource, and it is exactly where municipal council is looking at having that resource feed. That is the population center, the #1 highway from Meteghan to Church Point area. Looking at all these lakes as independent reservoirs, it goes back to 1979. Something should have been done then, and I think somebody dropped the ball. So I'll leave it at that.
Merci.
Merci, Gary.
Oui.
If I may add a quick comment, I've already voiced my name, so people should know me by now. I think another of the missing blocks in this project, I call it, is what would be the usable land in the municipality, I should say, and what can we use it for? So to my understanding, looking at the document, I just went over it quickly once or so, agriculture is almost totally out of bound in this watershed system. Forestry is out of bound. Then you can't do too much. I would like the council to explain me what are we going to grow in the municipality of Clare. I mean, watershed is not the whole of Clare, but then take it all out, there ain't much left. So I think you should really give consideration of what this means for the growth of Clare and vote accordingly.
Merci. To quelqu'un d'autre? Anybody else? If not, I want to thank everybody for coming out. Certainly, when you do land use planning, this is the crowd you hope you're going to get, honestly. I think the message was loud and clear here tonight, what you feel is unacceptable. All the comments have been recorded, and certainly the committee will take a close look at it. And I feel, I mean, it will go back, I imagine it's going back to the committee. The committee will really take a hard look, and council will have to make a decision on if we will adopt it at all or if there will be modifications to it. So, Carl?
I don't know if, so we can we have our say as well, or?
Yes, yeah, anybody can.
Before I was on council, I followed the meetings a lot, and I was here. I was the only one here most of the time. and I did follow this bylaw, the changes. I don't own any land. I'm not a logger. I am on the PEC. But I'm going to speak for myself. I can't support this at all. There's many things that I don't like about it, and I don't know if I'm out of place here saying what I'm saying, but I can't support it. I'm not condoning what we're doing. I agree with cleaning the lakes, and I do a lot of paddling in the lakes. I spend more time in the woods than I do at home, and some of the problems with the lakes, it's with the green. Someone was saying about the green algae. That's got a lot to do with climate change. I presently sit on 2 different committees, the Tuscarora River Committee and the Western Southwest Nova Biosphere Reserve Committee. We do test lakes with those committees. I agree, it is not the lakes that we're talking about, but there's green algae everywhere. And it's got a lot to do with climate change. I don't think that making a lot of these rules that we're looking at here is going to make a big change on those lakes. I mean, I find that the bylaw as it is written, it's vague. We need more numbers. We need more. I find it's vague. And again, like I said, I am on the committee, so I'm partly to blame. But I am a new member on the committee, like I said. So.
Is that a motion?
No, I'm not done yet. I'm just going to be a bit. So we need, and someone was mentioning, we need more people on the committee that know what they're talking about, like loggers, whoever. I don't know. I don't know. I can go to a meeting and they could probably talk me into anything because I don't know. I don't own land. I know that the lakes. I go on the lakes, and that's as much as I know. So I think we need more members that know what they're talking about, so we can get more or at least better output on what at least where we're trying to go. And yeah, so more clarity on the bylaw. So just to finalize, I agree with cleaning the lakes if they are actually dirty. I mean, I don't know, we haven't done, but there's many things that we're trying to get done here that I don't agree at all. There's taking, how far, to what cost are we going to be doing? Like, there's a cost. To what cost? And I don't mean money, but I mean someone that owns a piece of land that they're not even going to log it. They'll never log it. It doesn't matter. It's their piece of land. So I think we should thread carefully on with this, and I don't support this at all. Thank you.
To Carl's point, the members are already appointed, but the planning committee does have the power to bring in La Forêt Acadienne or any other group to sit at the table and help to look at the comments. So that's a right that the planning committee does have.
And that's what I'd like to see.
So that would be one option. If that you can cut it out. So essentially,
just to be clear, you're not voting on this tonight. Is that right?
Well, we're gonna.
Yeah.
So they have to make one of 3 decisions.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they are voting tonight.
Well, the consensus was to send it back to the PAC, but council can do whatever it chooses.
And how much was what's an approval by council? 90%, 100%?
A majority. Majority.
Can we still So can I ask Carl, is that a motion that you're making?
You mean to
because the wording that you said is very well said, I think, and I think the public here appreciates that. So I mean,
Well,
so that's a motion.
yeah.
If it's a motion, then
Don't bully him.
No,
You mean a motion
this
to what?
is,
You mean to
Dominic, it's, I mean, I respect your passion, but it's a bit unfair for Carl to be put on the
well, can I
spot.
ask you if that was a motion?
Well, technically it wasn't a motion, but I think he was explaining his position.
It was his opinion.
He just made an opinion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And plus, the fact that he's on the committee, it's probably a conflict of interest.
Danny?
I'd like to go a little step further than where Carl's treading on. It's probably not going to be very popular with a lot of people on PAC, but I do have to agree with Dominic after what I've heard here tonight. I think we should scrap it, and I'll make the motion.
Carl?
I'd like to second his motion.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there any discussion on the motion? I think we've had quite a bit of discussion, but at the council table, Danny?
I'd just like to add as well, I was on PAC when this was first brought up. We were following the public's intentions. That's what they wanted us to do. We were going into this trying to do the right thing, but apparently this is not the right thing. So I've made my decision to make this motion.
So, any other comments or questions?
Since the last election, I've joined PAC. I think we had 2 meetings, if I'm correct, and a public meeting. But I'm not a landowner as well. Mr. Boudreau Felix had mentioned there's 400 landowners. The big landowners are here. I appreciate for you all coming. After receiving letters, I've talked to many of you that are in this room. I have to agree with these two that I would be ready to scrap it.
Any other comments or? Not really. It's out of order, but I'm trying to follow some sort of order here. It's a bit stressful, but
just another quick one. I do realize that we did spend some money on this. I think people know that governments everywhere, be it provincial, federal, or us, we do spend money sometimes that it doesn't. It's okay. It's a waste of money. Okay, but it's. I mean, I think we'll have to let's put that.
Yeah, but in all fairness, I don't know if I'd go to say it's a waste of money.
No. I maybe that was.
I think the reality is when we had our planning meetings, some people came out. They set priorities to what they would have liked council to work on, and this was one of them. So council did follow the public's intention at those public meetings, but I mean it's pretty clear that the public is not on board with this decision.
And I'd like to change
I'd just like to say it's easy to say it's a waste of money, but the intention was good. We did follow the priorities of the public at that time. So it's not like we just said we're going to do this on our own.
And I'd like to change the word to remove a waste and put a better whatever the word.
Planning, and to be honest, planning is a very difficult thing. I'm sure Greg can attest to that.
This is completely out of order, but I work for the municipality. I'm working with PAC to bring forward a proposal. If council doesn't want to do it, the council has the right to do it. I mean, you guys, you could make the decision here. Nothing is being forced. Nothing's been driven down on you. You decide what you want to do. Either it needs more work and it goes back, or you just say stop it and forget about it. It's council's decision to decide where you want to go with it.
I just wanted to make the point that the reason we're working on this, it was a fact that it was at one of the public meetings, it was a priority. I'm not saying council doesn't have the right to change its mind. It's just the point about waste of money was a bit maybe harsh.
Yes, I'd like to retract that.
So any other discussion on the motion? Hector?
No, I just like to say that it's nice that so many people came out and did this. I've taken some notes here, and we are impacting on the lumber industry, the lumber industry and the agriculture and all that. So I have no problem with it.
So before I call the question, I just want to thank everybody for coming out and having their say. And it does make believe it or not, it does make a difference when people speak out. So on this motion, if you're ready for the question, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, nay. Motion carried. So. Ça prend une pause. It's recording and we are having technical difficulties. It can only tape for 2 hours, then they have to reset the box. So I'm just making sure that it's good. Okay, so break so they can reset the box to tape the meeting.
Tu nous entends, là? Ouais, OK, good.
Huh?
Did you vote on it? Did it get recorded?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they start recording after.
Ouais, c'est recordé. So, ouais. T'es pareil? OK, on va appeler la réunion à l'ordre pour prendre sur la deuxième moitié. Alors, la 4, adoption des procès-verbaux. 4.1, le 19 juillet 2017, réunion régulière du Conseil. N'as-tu des erreurs ou des omissions? Danny?
There's no errors or omissions that I could see. I move we adopt the minutes.
Moved by Danny, seconded by Ivo. Tous en faveur, indiquant disant oui.
Oui.
Contre, motion adoptée. 4.2, le 6 septembre 2017, réunion du comité du Conseil. As-tu des erreurs ou des omissions? Proposé par Hector, appuyé par Carl. Tous en faveur, indiquant disant oui.
Oui.
Contre, motion adoptée. Affaires découlantes des réunions précédentes, à vos rien. Alors la 6, rapport des activités du préfet. Ça va être essentiellement pour le mois de juillet, et septembre, là, qu'on n'aura pas une réunion dans le mois de juillet. Le 28 juillet, j'ai participé au dévoilement des panneaux interprétatifs portant sur l'article 2 de la loi sur les langues officielles du Canada. Le dévoilement avait eu lieu au site du monument de l'Odyssée sur le campus de l'Université Saint-Anne à la Pointe-d'Église. Le 29 juillet, j'ai participé à l'ouverture du Festival acadien. Le 31 juillet, j'ai assisté à une réunion du Weymouth Doctor Recruiting Committee. Le 15 août, c'était le lever du drapeau au bureau municipal. Le 16 août, le Conseil a rencontré avec le ministre des Affaires municipales, l'honorable Derek Montbourquette, la majorité des conseillers étaient à la Réunion. C'était pour discuter s'il y avait des items ou des choses que nous voyons de concern ou qui sont venus dans le futur. Et certainement rencontrer le ministre parce qu'il est à nouveau. Le 25 août, j'ai assisté à une session pour les maires et les préfets organisée par la UNSM. C'était la première session quelquefois organisée qu'il n'y avait point de CAO ou point de conseil. C'était un crack pour les maires et préfets. C'était une bonne session parce que beaucoup du monde là, c'était la première fois, premier terme comme maire ou préfet. So, il y avait beaucoup de discussions. Tu sais, je ne dis pas les vieux, mais c'est là que ça fait un an qu'ils sont sur le conseil. Les plus jeunes pouvaient demander des questions. C'était une bonne session. Le 30 août, il y avait l'annonce de MP Colin Fraser pour annoncer la contribution de 83 000 provenant du gouvernement du Canada envers le projet du Parc du Fort au Cap-Sainte-Marie. Et là, il y a plusieurs de vous à l'annonce. C'était une belle annonce. Le 31 août, j'ai assisté à un déjeuner avec le ministre de Santé, l'honorable Brandy Delory. Il y avait le warden de Digby, le maire de la ville de Digby. Il y avait un nombre de groupes, comme il y avait des membres du Doctor Recruiting Committee de Weymouth, et il y avait beaucoup de monde impliqué dans le domaine de la santé. Puis, j'ai soulevé une couple de points, surtout autour de notre collaborative care clinic, c'est qu'on peut le dire, que nous voulons être reconnus, surtout en termes de financement, quand il y a des programmes et des projets qui sortent. Parce que dans le passé, autour a été vu comme un centre privé, mais en réalité, la province nous reconnaît comme un collaborative care center, health center, so tous les fois que le mentionne pour faire sûr qu'ils sont au courant. Le 31 août, 1er septembre, j'ai assisté à la réunion du conseil d'administration du Conseil de développement économique de la Nouvelle-Écosse à Halifax. Et le 5 au 16 septembre, j'ai participé à une mission à la Chine organisée par le China Business Bureau of Nova Scotia et appuyée par le gouvernement provincial. Le but de la mission était de développer des relations avec la Chine afin d'explorer et de promouvoir des échanges éducationnels, touristiques et commerciaux. La municipalité de Clare a signé deux ententes d'amitié, c'est des Friendship Agreements. Ces ententes représentent une étape nécessaire pour commencer un dialogue quant aux échanges mentionnés ci-haut. La première entente a été signée avec la ville de Taichung. La deuxième entente a été signée avec la municipalité de Digbei et la municipalité de Clare avec la ville de Jinjiang. Un rapport plus détaillé sera présenté au Conseil dans les prochaines semaines. C'est essentiellement ça que je pense peut-être faire moi et Jimmy, le warden de Digbei. Es-tu censé faire une joint session of council avec Digbei? So, préparerions une PowerPoint, toute l'information pour tout ce que le ferions ensemble, puis ferions cette présentation-là devant les deux conseils, si vous êtes d'accord avec ça. So, essentiellement, la mission veut dire, la province, on va peut-être aller dans quelques détails, la province de la Nouvelle-Écosse, c'est la seule province au Canada comme China Strategy. Puis la grande partie de la China Strategy, beaucoup, c'est fournir des étudiants de la Chine à nos universités. So, partie de la raison que le Conseil sentait que c'était important, c'est que dans le passé, l'Université Saint-Anne ne faisait pas partie de ces ententes-là, ces échanges-là. Mais pour que l'université puisse signer leur propre entente, il faudrait que la municipalité signe ces ententes d'amitié, parce que ça ouvre les portes essentiellement pour l'université et pour notre industrie. Parce que partie de la China Strategy, c'est promouvoir les homards et les scalopes en Chine. Puis quand on signe l'entente avec Jinjiang, Stephen McNeil était là pour witnesser la signature. Il était là pour les photos. Et il a même parlé de l'importance de ce que la municipalité est en fait faire. So, il va dire que ça avait une bonne valeur. Sans aller dans trop de détails, à la prochaine joint session, encore pour faire un beau rapport pour pouvoir tout expliquer les bénéfices de ça. So, je ne sais pas si vous avez des questions. Danny?
I don't really have any questions. I just have a comment. I think it was very good to meet Minister Mombercat, and it was a very productive meeting with him and Gordon Wilson. I thought we let him know a lot of things we were interested in, so I thought it was a good meeting.
Yeah, there was a long list.
Yeah, it was a long list. They didn't expect it, I don't think.
Y a-t-il d'autres questions ou commentaires? Sinon, alors au présentant officiel des membres du Conseil. Eric, avais-tu?
Bon, on est trois ici qui prenons des mentions honorables du mode de notre réunion. Monsieur et Madame Edward et Anne Taylor ont célébré le 35e anniversaire de mariage le 20 août. On a une Madame Muriel Saunier qui a célébré sa 100e anniversaire de naissance le 16 septembre. Et puis on a Dave et Corinne Coggins qui ont célébré le 50e anniversaire de mariage le 1er septembre. Je pense que tout ce monde ici devrait avoir des certificats.
Vous êtes d'accord avec ça?
Oui.
Y a-t-il d'autres présentations officielles? Sinon, alors la correspondance 8.1, l'aide du département des affaires municipales de la Nouvelle-Écosse, ministre Derek Mombercat.
La lettre est en anglais. Dear Warden LeBlanc, I am pleased to inform you that $4,532 in funding from legacy federal infrastructure programs will be made available for transfer to the municipality of the District of Clare as a gas tax fund allocation for the purpose of funding municipal infrastructure and capacity building projects. Infrastructure Canada has transferred uncommitted funds from legacy federal infrastructure programs to the province of Nova Scotia, totaling $678,902. As a result, a portion is allocated to each municipal unit through the gas tax fund program. It is to be used for additional investments under that program's eligible categories and is intended to ensure funds are directed towards municipal infrastructure needs. These funds are aimed at contributing towards our shared objectives of productivity and economic growth, a clean environment, and strong cities and communities, in accordance with the terms and conditions as set out in the gas tax municipal funding agreement. Sincerely, Derek Mombercat, Minister.
As-tu des questions ou commentaires? 8.2, l'aide de la municipalité du district d'Yarmouth, préfet Leland Anthony.
Dear municipal units, on behalf of the municipality of Yarmouth, I am requesting your assistance in seeking the placement of a Doppler radar system in the Yarmouth area to cover southwest Nova Scotia and adjacent waters. Yarmouth, Shelburne, and Digby counties are currently without the benefits of such a system, leaving those of us that live, work, and play in this area in a possible unsafe situation. You will find included with this letter a copy of a letter to MP Colin Fraser and MLA Zach Churchill requesting an update on the status of our 2014 request to the Minister of Environment and for consideration for the placement of a Doppler radar system in Yarmouth to cover southwest Nova Scotia. We are requesting your support in this initiative and would encourage you to contact your MP and MLA to request a new radar site to cover our area and emphasize the importance of adequate and reliable weather information for the general public. Emergency services are fishers and other related trades that rely and depend on accurate weather forecasts and monitoring. Yours truly, Warden Leland Anthony. And just to provide a bit of context, the same letter was sent to the towns of Annapolis Royal, Lockport, Shelburne, Bridgewater, Clarks Harbour, Digby, Kenville, Lunenburg, Mahone Bay, Middleton, and Yarmouth, as well as the municipalities of Argyll, Barrington, Chester, Digby, Lunenburg, Shelburne, Annapolis, and Queens.
So, qu'est-ce que votre désir? Voulez-vous écrire une lettre supporter la
Yeah, I think we should pursue it further. I think it's quite important.
So you make a motion to write a letter?
Yes, I would make a motion.
Okay. Seconded by Carl. Y a-t-il de la discussion sur la motion? Tous en faveur, indiquant en disant oui?
Oui.
Contre? Motion adoptée. 8.3, lettre de la municipalité du district Shelburne, préfet Penny Smith.
Ceci, c'est essentiellement un suivi à 8.2 à la lettre de la municipalité de Yarmouth. Je ne vais pas la lire, mais essentiellement, c'est une lettre de la municipalité de Shelburne, écrite à leur membre de parlement, Bernard Jordan, demandant ou appuyant la municipalité de Yarmouth et demandant qu'un système de Doppler radar soit établi ou érigé ici au sud-ouest de Nouvelle-Écosse.
8.4, lettre des affaires acadiennes et de la francophonie, ministre Lina Dia.
Monsieur Leblanc, je vous remercie très sincèrement pour le message de félicitations que vous m'avez adressé. Vos bons vœux me sont allés droit au cœur. Comme vous le savez, tant le dossier de l'immigration que le dossier de la communauté acadienne et francophone me touchent de très près. J'ajouterais que c'était un énorme plaisir de vous revoir à l'occasion de ma courte tournée du sud-ouest de Nouvelle-Écosse, tant lors de mon entrevue à la radio communautaire SIFA que lors de l'ouverture officielle du 62e Festival acadien de Clare. Je serais ravi de vous rencontrer lors d'une prochaine tournée dans le sud-ouest de notre province afin de m'entretenir avec vous et d'explorer différentes pistes de collaboration en matière de développement économique, culturel et social pour la municipalité de Clare. Veuillez agréer, Monsieur Leblanc, l'expression de mes sentiments les meilleurs, la ministre Lina Metlej-Diab.
C'est bon de l'avoir à l'ouverture du festival et il vaut vraiment à Ibo là. Et je crois qu'il a enjoyé ça. 8.5, l'aide de l'association Sentier de Clare, Rails to Trails Association, Robert Ataria.
Monsieur Cyr, merci pour votre lettre du 18 mai 2017 dans laquelle vous nous informez que notre demande d'octroi au montant de 2 000 $ a été acceptée par le Conseil. Les membres de notre association veulent exprimer un grand merci à vous-même et aux membres du Conseil pour cette généreuse contribution. Cette contribution va nous permettre de poursuivre le travail d'entretien sur le sentier. Le travail cette saison sera concentré sur deux aspects: le contrôle de la végétation sur le côté du sentier et faire le nivellement ou le grading d'une section du sentier. Soyez assurés que le sentier est bien utilisé et contribue énormément aux besoins récréatifs et au bien-être des utilisateurs. Il faut également tenir compte que l'utilisation du sentier a un impact économique envers les commerces de la région. Veuillez agréer, Messieurs Cyr, l'expression de nos meilleurs sentiments. Robert Aterio.
C'est bien. Ensuite, 8.6, lettre de Belleville Motors, Richard Robichaud.
Dear Ronnie, the 23rd annual Belleville Motors Golf Tournament played at the Clare Golfing Country Club was again an outstanding success. The sportsmanship and generosity of all the teams was again quite apparent. This social event, sponsored by our dealership over the last 23 years, has raised over $412,625. In past years, all the proceeds have been returned to various organizations and projects within the community. This year, our goal was to raise funds for the Clare Health Center Foundation. The generosity of the business community and the citizens of the area were overwhelming for this fundraiser as well. Here is a breakdown on the event. $26,258.51 was raised from the tournament. An additional $582 was raised on the putting green, with these proceeds going directly to l'Atelier de Clare, for a one-day total of $26,840.51. In closing, I would like to personally thank you for participating in our tournament and making this fundraiser possible. We hope to see you next year. Best regards, Richard Robichaud, dealer principal.
C'est un bon nom, il n'y a pas d'autre. As-tu des questions, commentaires là-dessus? 8.7, l'aide de la ville de Yarmouth, Maris Pam Moon.
Wardens and councillors, hi Ronnie. At a recent meeting of Yarmouth Town Council, Council approved the following motion: that the town of Yarmouth send a letter to each council in the western region from Kings County to Queens County, explaining the need for a radiation unit in Yarmouth to better serve the people of the region with treatment options closer to home, and ask them to send a letter of support to the Nova Scotia Health Authority. We all know many people who have gone through the experience of radiation treatment and have had to travel to Halifax to receive the treatment. The benefits of being able to have this treatment option in our region can be immeasurable when it comes to the well-being of the cancer patients and their families. The province of Nova Scotia needs to hear the voices of the leaders in our region and understand how important this is to us. Accordingly, I am writing you today to request your support for the establishment of a radiation unit at the Yarmouth Regional Hospital in order to provide a convenient and affordable option for people going through cancer treatment in Western Nova Scotia. Yours truly, Pam Mood, Mayor.
Danny?
I agree we should write the letter of support. Everybody's been touched by cancer one way or the other, and it's quite a ways to Halifax, so.
Yeah. And seconded by Hector. N'as-tu de la discussion sur la motion? Je sais que le ministre de Santé est allé une couple de semaines passées pour en discuter. Ça, c'est sur le radar de la province. Certainement, une lettre ne fera pas être tôt.
Il y a un sondage qui circule, ça fait longtemps, donc il y a pas mal de signatures dessus.
Ça, c'est qu'il n'y a pas d'autres discussions. Tous en faveur, indiquant en disant oui.
Oui.
Quand? Motion adoptée. Voilà 9, rapport du directeur général.
On va juste faire un petit suivi sur plusieurs des projets en cours. Pour ce qui est de l'usine de traitement des égouts à Church Point, pas de nouveau développement sur ce dossier ici à l'heure actuelle. La première phase du projet qui était des rénovations et modernisation de l'usine à Church Point a été complétée. La deuxième phase, qui est essentiellement l'installation de 3 nouveaux panneaux dans la ville de Yarmouth, va arriver plus tard à l'automne. Pour le centre des anciens combattants à Sonyville, comme vous avez vu, les lettres sur l'extérieur de l'édifice ont été installées. On a également installé un nouveau, plus gros panneau au chemin. Et on a également ajouté d'autres affiches aussi directement en dessous du panneau pour faire la promotion du centre des anciens combattants ainsi que le Grand Fondo. Le système d'air climatisé a été réparé aussi dans l'édifice. Alors ça, essentiellement, ça m'a fin au projet qu'on a avec l'APK. La dernière réclamation ainsi que le rapport sur le progrès du projet vont être soumis sous peu. Pour ce qui est de l'extension du système des égouts sur le chemin John Thibodeau, tel que discuté auparavant, on avait eu 3 soumissions pour le projet. Les 3 soumissions ont été évaluées et ont été jugées trop élevé ou beaucoup plus élevé que notre budget le permet à l'heure actuelle. Alors, suite à des discussions avec les ingénieurs qu'on a embauchés pour travailler sur le projet, ainsi que notre personnel ici dans le département des travaux publics, on a jugé bon de refuser, avec l'appui du Conseil, de refuser les 3 soumissions. L'intention, c'est maintenant de resoumissionner ou de demander pour d'autres soumissions plus tard à l'automne, en dehors du temps qui est traditionnellement le plus occupé pour l'industrie de la construction, avec l'intention de recommencer le projet au printemps 2018. Les deux autres bailleurs de fonds dans le projet, c'est-à-dire l'APK et Riverside Lobster, ont été avisés de notre décision. et il m'assure que c'est pas de problème. Pour ce qui est du centre culturel à la vieille école à Comoville, la nouvelle entrée est maintenant complète. Tous les travaux à l'intérieur de l'édifice ont été complétés aussi et on a fait le walkthrough ou l'inspection finale avec le contracteur hier au cours de la journée le 19 septembre. On a commencé le landscaping, on a planté du gazon devant l'édifice. On va acheter des arbustes et des buissons également pour ajouter sur le devant de l'édifice, mais étant donné le temps de l'année et que l'inventaire est limité, on va remettre ceci au printemps 2018 quand on a une meilleure sélection pour ce qu'on va ajouter sur le devant de l'édifice. On a également fait un land survey pour l'édifice pour vraiment regarder c'est quoi les frontières de notre terrain. Ça a besoin d'être fait. Alors, ça, c'est maintenant complété. Puis, à l'heure actuelle, on est en train d'explorer des options pour l'installation de nouvelles fosses septiques, un sewer system, ainsi que le stationnement dans le derrière de l'édifice qui pourra servir au personnel du centre et particulièrement au transport de Clare. Parce qu'une fois que tu as tous les autobus stationnés devant l'édifice, ça limite vraiment qu'est-ce qu'on a comme stationnement. Mais on a de la place derrière l'édifice. Alors, c'est quelque chose qu'on est en train d'explorer, surtout en termes de coût. Pour ce qui est du projet du Clare 250e, pas de nouveau développement sur ce dossier ici depuis mon rapport de juillet. Pour ce qui est du Grand Fondo, l'événement est finalement arrivé. Le Grand Fondo va se dérouler en fin de semaine, le 23 et le 24. Jusqu'à date, on a 920 participants de registrés. Ça représente une augmentation de 5,7% comparé à l'année dernière. Le total l'année dernière, on avait 870 participants. Ce qui est particulièrement intéressant ou excitant pour nous autres et pour le comité organisateur, c'est des 920 participants qu'on a cette année. Il y en a 196 qui proviennent de l'extérieur de la province. L'année dernière, on en avait seulement 100 de l'extérieur de la province. Alors, c'est une augmentation de 96% comparé à l'année dernière. Alors, c'est quelque chose qu'on espère qui va se continuer dans les années à venir. Pour le parc du phare Cap-Sainte-Marie, les rénovations à l'extérieur du phare sont maintenant complétées. Les améliorations au site même sont essentiellement toutes complétées. Il reste quelques petits travaux à finaliser. Le webcam est maintenant installé et sera live en direct à partir de la semaine prochaine. Le viewing scope sera installé d'ici quelques semaines. On a également l'intention de construire un abri qui est accessible, ainsi que des tables de pique-nique accessibles dans les prochaines semaines. On n'a pas eu de date encore par rapport au monument pour les personnes noyées en mer. Le dossier là est présentement encore sous la gestion de la Société acadienne de Clare, mais on espère avoir des détails de la société sous peu. Le design proposé pour le welcome sign à l'entrée du parc a été circulé au Conseil ainsi qu'à certains membres du personnel et le feedback qu'on a reçu a été très positif. Alors on va procéder avec ça comme design. Et juste un dernier mot là-dessus, c'est que les panneaux interprétatifs sont en train d'être finalisés aussi et ça s'avance très bien. Alors en gros, ce projet-là est en train de se dérouler très bien. L'éco-parc, on va en discuter plus tard à soir à la session à huis clos, étant donné la nature financière de la discussion. Billabos Cove Development Commission, on avait été approché au mois de mai par la Billabos Cove Development Commission, ainsi que les autres bailleurs de fonds aussi, pour regarder à revisiter le projet qui nous avait approché avec, je pense, l'année dernière. J'ai parlé à Gary Thériault, qui est un membre de la commission aujourd'hui, et c'est encore leur intention de procéder avec le projet. Mais ils ne sont pas prêts à venir nous voir. Ils sont en train de travailler sur le bateau qui, pour eux autres, représente une partie intégrale du projet. Ils sont en train de travailler avec la famille Béliveau pour sécuriser le bateau. Une fois que ça c'est fait, ils vont approcher, ils espèrent pouvoir au moins repartir le dialogue avec la municipalité par rapport aux autres éléments du projet. Pour la caserne des pompiers à Saint-Bernard, les plans pour l'établissement ont été revisés et évalués par le personnel ici, ainsi que des représentants des pompiers de Saint-Bernard. Les spécifications par rapport au système de chauffage, à l'électricité et à la plomberie sont complets. Le personnel ici, on a quand même demandé quelques précisions ou d'informations additionnelles par rapport aux spécifications touchant les matériaux de construction. il y avait un manque de spécificité ou un manque de détails, puis on pensait si on va un tender tout de suite avec ce manque d'informations-là, ça va seulement nous créer des problèmes ou créer des problèmes pour les pompiers. On ne sera pas capable de... C'est trop vague, on n'aurait pas été capable de comparer des pommes avec des pommes. Le groupe est en train de travailler là-dessus maintenant. Le but est maintenant que le tender, qu'on soit prêt à le soumettre ou qu'il soit finalisé à la fin du mois et que les résultats de tout ce processus-là, ainsi que les recommandations du personnel et des pompiers soient présentés au Conseil au début du mois de novembre. Pour ce qui est de nos finances, en date du 31 août 2017, la municipalité avait des revenus de 7 948 735. Puis ça représente 88,2% du budget pour l'année, versus des dépenses de 3 524 520, pour un revenu net de 4 424 215. Également, à partir du 31 août 2017, la municipalité avait une balance de 4 862 561 dans son compte de banque et une balance en réserve de 2 961 350. Là, ce 2 961 350 se divise de la manière suivante. La réserve opérationnelle, 437 726. Notre réserve pour les projets capitaux ou pour les fonds capitaux, 1 767 148. Notre réserve pour le landfill closure, 316 778. Et notre gas tax reserve ou le fonds de la taxe sur l'essence, 439 698. Et c'est à noter que ça ne comprend pas le montant que j'ai mentionné plus tôt, 4 000 de la province. 4 500 environ de la province, ainsi que notre allocation pour l'année fiscale 2017-2018. On ne l'a pas encore reçu. À l'interne, au niveau des processus d'embauche, à l'heure actuelle, on essaie de remplir la position de Active Living Coordinator. La position est affichée, mais va fermer, je pense, dans 2 jours, le 22 septembre, oui. Et on espère pouvoir finaliser les entrevues 2 semaines par après. Quelques-unes des réunions que j'ai participé dedans depuis le 20 juillet, je me suis rencontré avec Ron Thibault, qui est le Deputy Fire Marshal pour la région. L'intention là, c'est d'essayer d'augmenter le nombre d'inspections qu'on fait par rapport au feu. On n'est pas différent que plusieurs autres municipalités dans la province, que les nombres d'inspections qui ont été effectuées dans les dernières années est bas, et c'est quelque chose qu'il faut travailler dessus. Pour nous autres, ça tombe bien, parce que c'est une chance. Daniel est en train de faire de la formation pour ça, et avec sa formation, avec le service des pompiers, plus que 30 ans de service, je pense, c'est une bonne fit pour nous autres. Puis ensuite, il est en train de travailler de proche avec Ron Thibault comme un mentor. Alors, c'est en train vraiment, pour lui, c'est une bonne manière d'apprendre. Alors, c'est Daniel pour nous autres, à l'interne, c'est Daniel qui va prendre le lead sur ce dossier-là. Weymouth Doctor Recruitment Committee, on s'est rencontré le 31 juillet. Puis j'ai également participé à une réunion du Nova Scotia Health Authority Stakeholders Meeting le 2 juillet. Beaucoup des mêmes discussions que le préfet a mentionné plus tôt. Il y a besoin pour un docteur à Weymouth, ainsi que nos propres défis ici avec notre centre à Metighan par rapport à la possibilité de financement de la province. Je me suis rencontré avec le personnel du Nova Scotia SPCA le 3 août. Ça, c'est juste pour discuter avec eux autres suite à la signature de notre contrat. Puis ça, je parle du personnel local, les personnes qui vont vraiment s'assurer de renforcer notre bylaw. Alors, il y avait Sonia Olejnizak qui travaille déjà pour nous autres dans le passé, maintenant avec l'SPCA Nova Scotia, ainsi que Elena Hurlbert. C'est juste pour discuter de notre bylaw. Le 4 août, je me rencontrais avec les pompiers de Saint-Bernard pour encore travailler sur le projet. Comme le préfet a souligné, le 16 août, on s'est rencontré avec le ministère des Affaires municipales, Derek Maubourquette, et la sous-ministre Kellyanne Dean. Le comité de vérification, on s'est rencontré le 11 septembre, tel que mentionné par Paul Comeau plus tôt ce soir. Le 12 septembre, je me suis rencontré avec Angélique Leblanc, qui est la directrice générale du REN, puis ça, c'est pour discuter quelques projets que les autres sont en train de travailler sur à l'heure actuelle, qu'est-ce que sont leurs priorités, comment ça s'aligne avec nos priorités en termes de municipalité, etc. Le 13 septembre, au nom du Conseil, j'ai fait une présentation au Centre des anciens combattants devant la Commission sur la représentation effective des électeurs acadiens et afro-néo-écossais. Il y avait environ une cinquantaine de personnes, je veux dire, dans la foule. Et en gros, basé sur les commentaires que j'ai reçus, la présentation et la position du Conseil par rapport à ce dossier-là des circonscriptions acadiennes protégées, nos commentaires ont été très bien reçus. Et finalement, le 15 septembre, j'ai une réunion avec une Gillian Hatton, qui est une consultante qui travaille pour le REN sur un de leurs projets, Investment Opportunities and Strategies. Essentiellement, c'est un projet qui touche vraiment sur Foreign Direct Investment. Et c'est quoi les défis de la région par rapport à attirer d'autres investissements dans la région. Quelques réunions qui s'en viennent d'ici quelques semaines. Notre centre de IMO, on va avoir un exercice ou une simulation qui va se passer samedi matin ici dans la municipalité. Puis ça va impliquer d'autres organisations telles que Clare Firefighters Association, Clare Ground Search and Rescue, la GLC de Metegan, EHS Nova Scotia, Emergency Social Service, Department of Natural Resources et la Red Cross. Puis ça, c'est quelque chose, c'est quelque chose qu'on veut faire qu'on est demandé de faire régulièrement. Ça fait longtemps qu'on ne l'a pas fait. Mais le but de tout ceci, c'est tester notre plan. On a un Emergency Management Plan qui a besoin d'être testé régulièrement. Puis deuxièmement, c'est tester nos procédures. Comment est-ce qu'on peut répondre en cas d'urgence à différents scénarios. Ceci, on va viser le public commençant demain sur CIFA ainsi que sur l'IMO Facebook page, sur notre site web, etc. Juste pour lui laisser savoir que samedi matin, s'ils voient des camions de pompiers, des chars de police, plus que normal dans les rues, pas de s'inquiéter que c'est juste un exercice. Le 26 au 29 septembre, il y a l'Association of Municipal Administrators Nova Scotia Fall Conference qui aura lieu, alors je vais participer à celle-là. Puis le 7 au 10 novembre, UNSM, c'est la conférence d'automne qui aura lieu à Halifax. Alors, les dates sont déjà établies. Ça, normalement, c'est ouvert au Conseil ainsi que le CEO. Alors, s'il y a quelqu'un qui s'intéresse à y aller, s'il vous plaît, si vous pouvez me laisser savoir pour qu'on puisse faire des arrangements pour les chambres, puis s'occuper de la registration. Et ça, c'est mon rapport.
Merci. As-tu des questions? Carl?
Juste une question sur le hub à Comoville.
Oui.
En arrière, un driveway en arrière là, qui frappe sur le driveway de
Synergy.
Oui. Ça va-t-il rester comme ça ou s'ils vont enlever ce...
Les lignes comme qui sont qu'on a appris, c'est que ce qu'on a appris en faisant le plan du site, c'est que une bonne portion du stationnement à Synergy appartient à la municipalité.
Ah, okay.
À cause que c'est pour ça, c'est une des raisons qu'on voulait faire retracer les lignes, c'est qu'on ne savait plus que notre marche de terre arrêtait puis le leur commençait. Les bornes, on les trouvait plus. Ah. Alors, on a fait l'exercice, on a mis les nouvelles bornes. Ça étant dit, puis on a parlé avec Pam Doucet et avec Gary Sullivan, on est confiant qu'on a suffisamment d'espace en arrière de l'édifice pour remplacer la fosse septique et faire un stationnement qui fait notre affaire sans impacter Synergy. Eux autres sont courants que partie de leur stationnement est sur notre terre. Synergy, c'est un des plus gros employeurs dans la région. Et moi, mon message à l'équipe ici, c'est que oui, on veut faire avancer notre projet, mais on ne veut pas leur causer des problèmes à eux autres. Je pense qu'il y a un entre-deux qui peut se faire, là, que ça va faire notre affaire et que ça va encore faire leurs affaires. Mais n'importe quoi qu'on va faire en arrière de l'édifice, surtout par rapport au stationnement, on va le faire, on va les garder, on va le faire en consultation avec eux autres pour ne pas les impacter de façon négative.
Merci.
D'autres questions? Sinon, merci une autre fois, Stéphane. Alors, le rapport des comités, rapport des permis de construction, Danny?
In June of 2016, we had 24 permits issued for $460,000 worth of construction. In June of this year, it was 36 for $4.3 million. Very good increase. In July, we had 20 permits for $868,000 worth of construction. In July of this year, 30 permits for $990,000 worth of construction. And for August, it was 22 permits, $905,000 worth, and August of this year, 23 permits with $1.3 million worth. And the year to date, last year at this time it was 6.3 million, and this year it's 8.3 million. So that's $2 million up, and it's a good sign because the first 5 months we're always falling behind. So now we're going way ahead. So that's good news. That is.
Des questions? Thank you, Danny. Ensuite, allons à 11 nouvelles affaires. 11.1, motion pour transférer 350 000 $ du fonds opérationnel au fonds de réserve en capital.
Comme vous le savez, tous les ans, c'est la pratique de la municipalité de transformer la majorité de son surplus du fonds opérationnel à sa réserve en capital. Le montant en question, le surplus qu'on avait selon nos non-consolidated statements, c'était 352 000 et un peu de change. La recommandation de nos vérificateurs ainsi que la directrice des finances ici et moi-même, c'est qu'on transfère la somme de 350 000 de notre surplus opérationnel envers notre fonds de réserve en capital pour essentiellement la mettre de côté pour nous permettre d'investir dans des projets futurs.
Nel?
J'en ferai la motion. Je propose que 350 000 du surplus opérationnel pour l'année fiscale 2016-2017 soit transféré du fonds opérationnel au fonds de réserve en capital.
Quelqu'un appuyé par Hector, n'a-t-il de la discussion sur la motion? Sinon, tous en faveur, indiquant en disant oui.
Oui.
Contre? Motion adoptée. 11.2, motion pour approuver les états financiers 2016-2017. Ça, c'est essentiellement, c'est une motion pour approuver, pas la présenter. Danny?
I move that the municipality of the District of Clare approve the 2016-2017 audited financial statements for the municipality of the District of Clare as prepared by Grant Thornton and as presented to the Audit Committee on September 11th, 2017.
Quelqu'un qui appuie ça? Yvon? As-tu de la discussion? Tous en faveur, indiquant en disant oui?
Oui.
Contre? Yep. Motion adoptée. 11.3, motion pour renverser une motion contre recevable de l'Association des pompiers de Clare.
Je pense que notre directrice des finances, Ginette Chef, vous a parlé un peu de ceci lors de la dernière réunion, mais essentiellement, on avait été avisé dans le passé de transférer 200 000 $ contre le compte à recevoir des pompiers. La raison, c'était qu'on avait été dit que les paiements en 2008 et 2009 n'avaient pas été pris. On a fait la motion au Conseil. Par contre, par après, on en a discuté de nouveau à l'interne. On a vraiment retracé tous les chiffres vraiment de ce compte-là, de ce GL-là, jusqu'à 2008 pour voir exactement qu'est-ce qui avait arrivé, comment est-ce que ces montants-là ont été, pourquoi est-ce qu'ils n'ont pas été pris. Essentiellement, c'est que dans ces 2 années-là, on avait investi beaucoup dans des équipements pour les pompiers dans la région. Alors, il n'y avait pas d'argent de reste dans l'area rate pour mettre envers le prêt. Alors, pour cette raison-là, le paiement n'avait pas été pris pour ces 2 années-là. Alors, ce n'était pas un oubli, c'est qu'il n'y avait plus d'argent de reste dans l'area rate pour le prendre. Alors, savant ça, on a discuté avec les vérificateurs. Eux autres sont d'accord avec notre évaluation et d'accord avec notre recommandation qu'on rescinde la motion qui avait été préparée et présentée au Conseil l'année dernière et qu'on aille de l'avant cette année, comme on fait tous les ans, avec un montant de 100 000 $ ainsi que l'excédent qui reste dans l'area rate pour l'appliquer envers le prêt.
Puis, pour être clair, c'est un prêt à nous-mêmes.
Essentiellement, on est en train de nous repayer nous autres.
C'est pas une institution.
C'est pas un Municipal Finance Corporation, une banque à chaque bout de l'année.
So, a-t-il quelqu'un qui va faire la motion? Yvon? Ton micro, ça va quoi?
Je propose que le Conseil de la municipalité du district de Clare renverse la motion suivante, faite le 16 novembre 2005, proposée par le conseiller Danny Hill et appuyée par le conseiller Carl DeVoe, que le Conseil de la municipalité du district de Clare transfère un montant de 200 000 $ des fonds des réserves du capital au fonds d'exploitation GL numéro 32770 afin de réduire les créances par les services d'incendie à l'actuel et que ces fonds étaient budgétés et collectés à travers des taux de zonage pour le capital des services d'incendie pour l'année fiscale 2008-2009 et 2009-2010.
Appuyé par Hector, n'a-t-il de la discussion sur la motion? Sinon, tous en faveur, indiquent en disant oui.
Oui. Oui.
Contre? Motion passée. 11.4, motion pour accorder une soumission réparation du toit à la station de transfert de Clare.
On avait affiché une demande pour invitant des soumissions pour des réparations au toit à la station de transfert de Clare, la transfer station. On n'a reçu aucune soumission. Alors, ça étant dit, et avec la permission du Conseil, quand on avait regardé au toit, quand on dealait avec les assurances, on avait regardé au toit, on était obligé de faire rentrer quelqu'un qui connaissait ce type d'édifice-là pour nous donner une idée de ce que ça pourrait coûter pour réparer le toit. Mark Bourque de Delmar Construction avait rentré et il nous avait fixé un prix. Le prix était à 8 900 $ plus taxes. Le toit n'est pas en train de couler, mais c'est plutôt plus pour renforcer la structure. Dans le temps, le prix était à 8 900 $. Alors, ça étant dit, malgré ça, Delmar n'a pas soumissionné, n'a pas envoyé une soumission. Alors, vu qu'on n'avait pas eu de réponse, on l'a affiché publiquement pour 2-3 semaines, si pas plus. On n'a pas eu de réponse. Alors, on a appelé Marc de Delmar pour lui voir s'il serait intéressé dans le travail. Et ils nous ont dit qu'ils seraient prêts à le faire pour nous autres, parce que nous autres, on a aimé de pouvoir faire le travail avant l'hiver, avant que la neige, puis la pesanteur sur le toit, parce que là, il y a une faiblesse dans le toit. Et il nous a dit qu'il serait prêt à le faire. Moi, j'attends juste pour voir s'il est prêt à honorer le prix qu'il nous avait fait de 8 900, parce que ça fait plus que 90 roues. Alors, attends cette nouvelle-là de Mark et que Gary Sullivan en train de faire des suivis avec Delmar aussi, juste pour voir s'ils sont prêts à le faire pour ce prix-là. Mais ça étant dit, Gary ne semble pas croire que le prix aura monté trop de plus que ce 8 900 là. Alors, ça, c'était simplement pour vous aviser qu'on espère pouvoir aller de l'avant avec Delmar, puis aussitôt que j'ai un prix, vous partagerez cette information-là.
Ensuite, 11.5, motion pour accorder une soumission au remplacement des 4 portes de garage à la station de transfert de Clare.
Pour ce travail-ci, on a reçu 2 soumissions. Et la plus basse et celle qu'on vous recommande, c'est de L&L Leblanc Limited. Le coût était de 19 293 $ plus TVH. Pour un total de 22 186 $ et 95 cents, qui est un peu plus bas honnêtement, c'est un peu plus bas qu'on pensait que ça allait être. Alors,
Hector?
Je propose que le Conseil de la municipalité du district de Clare accorde la soumission pour le remplacement de 4 portes de garage à la station de transfert de Clare à L&L Leblanc Contracting Limited au montant de 19 293 plus 2 883,95 de TVA pour un total de 22 186,95.
Quelqu'un qui appuie ça, appuyé par mail, n'a-t-il de la discussion sur la motion? Sinon, tous en faveur, indiquent en disant oui. Oui. Contre? Motion adoptée. 11.6, motion pour ajuster l'allocation des fonds envers le programme Clare PJ.
Ça aussi, ça vous a été présenté à la dernière réunion. Chad Como et la FRAP ont reçu des bonnes nouvelles de Patrimoine Canada. Ils ont eu du financement pour le programme. C'est pas le montant demandé, mais c'est un bon montant pareil. Alors ça, ils nous ont demandé essentiellement d'ajuster s'ils pouvaient encore aller de l'avant avec le projet, parce que notre motion initiale, c'était 5 000 pièces conditionnelles sur le plein financement de patrimoine. Et ce 5 000 $-là allait être distribué sur 2 années fiscales, 2 montants égaux de 2 500. En parlant avec M. Comeau, sa préférence serait, qu'on lui permette d'aller de l'avant avec le projet et qu'on garde notre contribution de 5 000 $. Eux autres sont en train de travailler à l'heure actuelle pour pouvoir avoir accès à du financement additionnel pour arriver aux 100 000 $. Mais le projet est en train d'aller de l'avant tel que prévu et il n'y a aucune coupure nécessairement au programme prévu à l'heure actuelle. Deuxièmement, M. Comeau nous demande de, s'il vous plaît, réviser notre motion pour, au lieu de faire 2 paiements égaux de 2 500 par an, il nous demande de réviser la manière qu'on alloue les fonds pour contribuer 2 220 la première année et 2 780 la deuxième année. Alors, c'est la recommandation du personnel. Étant donné qu'il a reçu au-delà de 60 000 $ de Patrimoine Canada, qui n'est pas une tâche facile, on pense que le projet mérite, c'est un projet qui a de la valeur et qui mérite de procéder.
Moi, je ferai la mention de ça. Je propose que le Conseil de la municipalité du district de Clare ajuste l'allocation des fonds accordés au programme Clare PG tel que demandé, soit 2 220 $ pour 2017-2018, 2 780 $ pour 2018-2019.
Appuyé par Yvon, y a-t-il de la discussion sur la motion? Tous en faveur, indiquant en disant oui. Contre? Motion adoptée. 11.7, motion pour nommer un chemin du pâturage.
On a été approché par un groupe de résidents qui ont un chemin privé pour nommer le chemin. Ils ont suivi le processus qu'on a en place ici à la municipalité. On travaille avec Daniel Godet pour nous produire le nombre nécessaire de signatures pour changer le chemin. Le nom qui nous propose, Sheep Pasture Road ou le chemin du pâturage, respecte notre politique qu'on a ici à l'interne pour le nom des chemins. On veut qu'ils soient bilingues. Alors, Daniel et Gary m'assurent que ça rencontre la politique qu'on a en place. Alors, leur recommandation, c'est qu'on procède avec la demande du groupe.
Carl? Si. Je propose que le chemin partagé par les propriétaires, puis je vais nommer le numéro.
Ouais.
Le premier numéro, c'est 303226663. L'autre, c'est 303226671. 300233527. 300233469. 300232279. Puis aussi 300232238. Soit officiellement nommé comme suite. En français, ça va être le chemin du pâturage. Puis en anglais, Sheep Pasture Road.
Appuyé par Danny. Y a-t-il de la discussion? Tous en faveur, indiquant en disant oui.
Oui.
Contre? Motion adoptée. 11.8, motion pour nommer de nouveau administrateur pour la compte de carte de crédit Mastercard.
Ceci, c'est une tâche plutôt administrative, mais c'est quelque chose qu'on vient de s'apercevoir qu'il a besoin d'être corrigé. Pour le faire, la compagnie Mastercard nous exige une motion du Conseil. Il exige également qu'en plus du personnel de la municipalité, il exige qu'également un conseiller ou le préfet, un membre du conseil essentiellement, qui soit également nommé comme administrateur sur le compte. Alors la recommandation du personnel, c'est que ce membre du conseil-là soit le préfet, Ronnie Leblanc, et que les autres administrateurs soient moi-même, Ginette Chef, notre directrice des finances, ainsi que Jeannette Doucet, notre préposée aux finances.
Quelqu'un? Yvon?
Je propose que le Conseil de la municipalité du district de Clare procède avec l'achèvement du processus pour nommer les employés suivants en tant qu'administrateurs, administratrices sur le compte de Mastercard: Ronnie Leblanc, Stéphane Cyr, Ginette Chef et Jeannette Doucet.
Appuyé par Neil. Y a-t-il de la discussion sur la motion? Non, tous en faveur, indiquant en disant oui.
Oui.
Contre? Motion adoptée. 11.9, motion pour faire une modification des frais d'hébergement des chiens à l'arrêt municipal numéro 12 concernant les chiens.
Ça, c'est suite à une discussion avec le personnel de l'SPCA à Yarmouth et quelques incidents qui ont eu lieu en renforçant notre bylaw. Présentement, notre bylaw dit que c'est l'impound fee est 200 pièces, que les autres gardent, c'est une flat rate, so que s'ils gardent le chien une journée ou 5 jours, c'est 200 pièces. L'SPCA Yarmouth qui administre des contrats semblables aux nôtres pour les autres municipalités, ils chargent 35 pièces par jour. Alors, si les autres s'ils prennent ton chien puis qu'ils gardent une soirée, qu'ils l'hébergent pour une soirée, c'est 35 pièces. 2 soirs, c'est 70, etc. Ça monte de taux quotidien. Chaque jour, ça monte de 35. Juste pour les constants, si tu veux, avec ce que les autres municipalités fassent, puis pour éviter des situations comme il y a 2 cas en particulier qu'ils ont été obligés ils ont saisi des chiens pour une journée. Et dans le cas, c'était des propriétaires responsables, c'était juste un accident qui arrivé, le chien s'est sauvé. Ils ont eu beaucoup de commentaires que 200 pièces, c'était cher. Puis même pour le personnel, ça menait à confusion. Alors, nous autres, ce qu'on recommande, puis l'SPCA nous appuie certainement, c'est qu'on change la facture qu'on charge de 200 pièces flat fee à 35 $ par jour. Si le chien est dans la possession de l'SPCA pour 5 jours, ça représente une différence de 25 pièces. Alors, c'est pas le gros montant, mais je pense qu'en faisant un taux quotidien, c'est plus juste pour les propriétaires. Puis juste à titre d'information, on peut changer l'impound fee sans avoir à changer la bylaw. Alors, il n'y a pas besoin nécessairement de consultation publique, toute une série first reading, public hearing, second reading, c'est pas nécessaire. On fait simplement une motion du Conseil et on avise la province. On nous envoie une copie de la motion et c'est fait.
So, y a quelqu'un qui va faire la motion, Dan?
I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare amend its impound fee for dogs from a flat fee of $200 to a daily rate of $35, in keeping with the rate currently charged by the Nova Scotia SPCA.
Appuyé par Carl, y a-t-il de la discussion sur la motion? Sinon, tous en faveur, indiquant en disant oui.
Oui.
Aye.
Contre. Motion adoptée. 11.10, Engage Nova Scotia, clinique d'engagement.
Plutôt cet été, il y avait pris part à une session à Digby, dans la ville de Digby, qui était menée par Engage Nova Scotia. Puis il y avait le directeur d'Engage Nova Scotia, Danny Graham, ainsi que Jenna DeCoste, qui est un employé d'Engage Nova Scotia. Tu avais des représentants des municipalités de Naples et de Digby, ainsi que la ville de Naples et la ville de Digby et Clare autour de la table. Les travailleurs, les employés ainsi que les membres du Conseil. Et c'était juste une discussion, un brainstorming pour voir quoi c'est que nos défis, quoi ce qu'on aimerait voir, puis surtout quoi c'est que nos défis quand ça vient à engager le public dans les affaires municipales. Puis c'était juste une session d'1 heure, c'était vraiment vite, mais c'est pour voir s'il y avait des points communs qu'on partageait, surtout en termes de défis. De là, ça va être mentionné si on serait intéressé à faire une workshop peut-être plus formelle, plus élaborée plus tard à l'automne. Et basé sur le feedback dans la chambre, il semble avoir beaucoup d'intérêt. Alors moi, je dis, certainement, si c'est ça le consensus du groupe que vous voulez faire ça, je peux pas avoir qu'il y a pas d'appétit. Moi, je pourrais certainement envoyer quelques employés ici. Et de la part de notre conseil, il y aura peut-être un désir de participer aussi. Ça étant dit, ils ont été de l'avant avec ça. À cette heure, ça garde comme si ils ont une date de proposer, le 17 octobre, de 2h à 7h30 à Metighan. Puis ça va être la salle des pompiers à Metighan. Puis ça va aller, comme je dis, la ville de Digby, la municipalité de Digby, Annapolis et Annapolis Royal, ainsi que Yarmouth. Puis on va peut-être voir des gens même de la région en dehors de ces villes et ces municipalités-là. Alors, c'est simplement pour voir, y a-t-il de l'intérêt? Puis si oui, vous pouvez, pas besoin de le savoir ce soir, mais si vous pouvez me partager, si vous autres vous êtes intéressés d'y participer, parce que moi, j'aimerais pouvoir envoyer un nombre à Jennifer DeCoste ici pour lui laisser savoir. s'il y a des membres du conseil qui veulent participer ou non. Moi, si mon horaire me le permet, va essayer de participer et va également recommander que les membres, ou certains membres du département du développement communautaire y participent également. Alors, c'est simplement un titre d'information du conseil. Ça se peut qu'ils vont nous demander un petit montant, une petite contribution. C'est leur pratique à Engage Nova Scotia. Quand ils font des sessions comme ceci, surtout au niveau des municipalités, ils ne chargent pas un prix fixe, mais ils demandent si la municipalité sera prête à faire une contribution. C'est leur pratique. Ils nous ont mentionné ça cet été. Le consensus autour de la Chambre cet été, c'était que $500 par municipalité pour offrir cette formation ici, ça sera une contribution raisonnable. Alors, moi, je n'aurai pas de problème avec ça. Je peux le trouver dans le budget, le voir comme la formation, c'est opérationnel ou dans le budget pour. Mais c'est ça qu'eux autres qui nous proposent pour le 17 octobre. Alors, c'est un titre d'information.
As-tu des questions? Ensuite,